Styx is somebody who I never liked, so bad things happening to him were good in my eyes. My reasons for not liking him may sound petty, but there is some logic to my madness, okay? First of all, he looks like a Nancy boy. You can judge a book by its cover, as it turns out. However, the main thing that really pissed me off about Styx was he's one of those people who continually cried censorship, but he was always on YouTube and always monetized. His reasons for believing that he was censored was that some of his videos wouldn't get as many views as he personally felt they should have, but he was still raking in thousands of dollars across his various monetized channels, and he was getting bonuses for signing up to platforms. And this was the real sticking point. Before Elon Musk bought X, there was a question of where social media should go for people who are on the right. And to answer this question, many entrepreneurs set up businesses that were effectively just Twitter minus the censorship, YouTube minus the censorship. And what they all had in common is that they were all centralized services. So when the credit card companies would pull the plug, as they inevitably would, or when the law came knocking on the door, as it did in the case of Bitchute, they would just shut down or start censoring stuff. So when the Fediverse started propping up, which was basically X or Twitter meets email, and it was a very good working solution, STYXHEXENHAMMER had no interest in it, despite it being a good answer to the question of where to go. And the reason why is that Styx couldn't get paid doing this. Yet what he wanted was a centralized service ran by a company that would compensate him for jumping over, and he would promote absolutely nothing that was a working, viable answer to a big question unless it financially compensated him in the process. So I always had him pegged as a filthy little grifter. And very thankfully, I got to see his amazing decline as he wore himself schizophrenic, thinking that YouTube was after him. And then he started beating women. So please enjoy. Though I'm euphoric because I keep having Twitter fights, and now I understand why people end up destroying themselves on Twitter. Because what happens is you get into that dopamine of like tweet, retweet, and the likes come in, and people start arguing, and then you see them backpedal, and you're like, oh, I got them. So there's like a casino slot machine reward system going on when you see people like engaging with your shit on social media. And it's especially fun when you combine that with the dopamine of yelling at someone. And I've had 2 different instances this week of yelling at someone on Twitter and the associated dopamine highs of that. This is my Twitter, and I say, just because I was listening to his stream and listening to the things he was advocating. And what he advocated essentially boiled down to make friends, have a child, vote for people, get active in local politics, and boycott Chinese companies. And that was it. That was like some of his advice. Oh, and follow him on Bitchute and Parler. And it's just like, that's your... Because all those alt tech companies, number one, Bitchute's in the UK. We just saw the UK. That's the UK. That's what it looks like. Bitchute's not going to stay around. Supposedly he lives overseas from the actual island of the UK. And if the UK, he's promised on Ralph's show that if something happens to Bitchute in the UK, he would move it abroad. But that's like crazy talk, right? I mean, he's already deleting YouTube shit for making fun of Ralph. So Bitchute is already just sort of like untrustworthy as a platform. And then number 2, Bitchute is still on PayPal. And as far as I'm concerned, any service that can stay on PayPal or payment networks, traditional payment networks right now, has some sort of inherent flaw where it's either operated by feds or it is censored in a way that people running the payment networks approve of. Same with Parler. And I'll get into that in a second. But that's the gist of it. It's like he's saying, don't do anything violent. Don't keep paying your taxes. Literally saying, keep paying your taxes. What? I didn't get showed. Refresh. It's probably just my internet. It's my proxies. Anyways, so literally just saying, keep paying your taxes, keep being good, don't do anything violent, which to an extent I can agree with. But his issue is that he has experienced no hardship, and that's what I explained in my little tweet to him. And again, when I tweet at people who have a ton of subscribers, I really don't ever expect a reply. I'm thinking, oh, this guy is like so lofty and above me in terms of like clout. He's not even going to reply to this. Why would he? Why would he step in shit for no reason? But I say, Styx is a peak grift. His solutions are UK and French tech, French being Daily Motion, the Parlor honeypot, and other free market and quote solutions. He proclaims this from his verified YouTube channel with his Patreon and subscribe star untouched. His safe opinions are kosher false hopes. But make no mistake, he doesn't live in the Netherlands because of his wife, which is what he claims. He is outside the U.S. for the same reason that I am. He looks back on the U.S. and sees a dead country in a state of decay. He takes American money, selling them snake oil ideals, and then he converts it into crypto. And then, this reply that you see right here is not his initial reply. His initial reply is this. Jesus, look at his bio, LOL, which is, if you don't know, my name is in Hebrew. I have Israeli flags, and my bio is neurodiverse social commentator, he, him, Black Lives Matter, trans pride, gay pride, Israeli flag. For some reason, people don't look at this and think, oh, this is obviously a joke. They think, oh, this is very real. I hit like every point possible to the point where it's obvious that I don't say anything about what I do, what I'm interested in, what my hobbies are, if I like what my favorite color is, just no information whatsoever. It's just, I'm super gay and Jewish and I love black people and my pronouns are he, him, right? Like just obvious. But for some reason, people fall for it constantly. And I think it's because, and this is the entire reason why they even reply. Someone like Styx has 100,000 followers. Is like, he sees an A-log in the chat. He's not going to reply, but he sees an A-log in the chat who is also a neurodiverse social commentator from Israel who Black Lives Matter, trans pride. He thinks, oh, easy win, easy grift right here. I'm gonna dab on this guy. And then he tries to, by saying, look at his profile and going, speaking for others is considered rude in regards to me saying that he lives in the Netherlands because he doesn't want to be in the U.S. And I say, it's easy to tell people to stay at home, have children, obey the law, don't be violent, boycott companies, or participate in local elections. People have been saying this for 100 years. It's not a watershed line of thought. You know what I know, and you know what makes money. And he says, you know so little about my life and absolutely nothing about my motives. How sad. Project more. I say, I know you lived with your mom until last year. It's nice to have disposable income. It would be a shame to lose that for silly things like principles and telling people the truth, wouldn't it? Toe the line, boy. And I'm being mean to him intentionally because I don't respect. I mean, I understand his perspective where it's like, I have something nice. I have no reason to get rid of my nice thing in pursuit of some lofty ideal, which is unachievable, right? Like, I get what he's doing. I don't particularly respect it, but I understand. So it's fair to bully him a little bit. But what does he come back? Remember, this is Styx. He has like 100,000 subscribers. He's been in YouTube debate since like the mid 2000s, I'm pretty sure. He looks like an amazing atheist here. Like his username has 666 in it. Like, obviously this is someone who has not progressed very far from the teenage anti-Christian shit that happened in the 2000s for my generation. And he should have the experience to argue with someone on the points and deal with things like that without completely crumbling at the seams. His response to me saying what I just said was, it's toe the line, spelled toe, as in, instead of like towing a car, like the toes on your feet. And he says, your grasp of parlance is as shitty as your grasp of my life. Puke, burp, elsewhere, boot, bitch. And it's just like, are you... Okay, so I said T-O-W, which is an obvious, like, easy error to make. Because in my mind, it's like you're towing something up to the line or along the line. I don't know what the means to T-O-E something. I guess put your toe up to the line as opposed to pulling something up to the line. Like, you know what I mean. I've exercised my language to make a point, and you understand what my point is, which means that my language, regardless of the technicalities, has done its job. You know what I'm saying. But no, he says, aha, I got you. You spelled toe. You spelled the wrong version of the homophone toe.
checkmate, not atheist. So I say that. I say, behold, the best of libertarian thought, reducing himself to grammar policing for a gotcha in 3 tweets. It's not like this has been some huge argument where he's ran out of defenses for what I'm saying. It's just immediately, you can't spell. You can't spell, I got you. So I say most people grow past this when they become an adult, like how most people grow past thinking the free market can work when the megacorps and the government have the same owner. Which is true. That's my perspective, is that you can't expect Gab and Parler and Bitchute to compete with Twitter and Facebook and Google. Because those companies have probably a annual income at this point of less than $1 million combined. Whereas I would be surprised to hear that a day goes by where Twitter, Facebook, and Google don't each make $1 million a year. So they're just completely different games. And there's no way to enter the free market because of payment processors. But I've never once heard Styx mention the banks. So if you that's my thing. It's like you don't have the perspective to make an informed opinion because you're still on Patreon. You're still on Subscribestar. I'm banned from both. I have a Patreon, but I shouldn't even say that because I'm going to get banned again. Subscribestar, I emailed and I said, hey, this is who I am. I would like to have a podcast Patreon with, or whatever, with the Subscribestar. And the guy emailed back me and said, we can't have you, obviously. I have to keep all my payment methods as secret as possible. It's always at risk. I could wake up tomorrow and all the mechanisms that I have, all my banks could be shut down. It could be closed, but it doesn't happen to Styx because Styx says the right things. Pay your taxes. Don't challenge the government. Participate in democracy. Like shit that's not going to change anything at this point. And these are the last years where I think that there will be any chance to see any reform. We really need new constitutional amendments to prevent the intelligence agencies from mass surveillancing everyone all the time and collecting facial fingerprints by putting up cameras on every street corner. And like, we need that now. And if we don't get it now, we'll never get it. But he doesn't advocate for that. He advocates for growing a garden and having kids and paying taxes, which aren't going to help. That was my entire point. And let's see, was there something I meant? No. So then, after this gets pointed out, and he starts losing this like exchange, he deletes the tweet where he's saying, look at his bio, because he realizes, oh, I'm a retard. He deletes it, and then he reframes our entire conversation. Again, remember, this is not like some just idiot on Twitter. I mean, I guess it is, but he's also someone who is apparently like an intellectual in libertarian ideology. He deletes his tweet, which links to our exchange, and he reframes it in his own straw man, saying, Styx and Hammer is a grifter for telling people not to take selfies when violating federal laws and for pointing out that people telling you to hurl rocks are often not doing so themselves, and that is suspicious. Soft glowers, he says. And it's like, okay, number one, that's not our conversation. I didn't say any of that. I didn't encourage violence. I didn't encourage people to take selfies of themselves while committing crimes. And I agree that people like Nick Fuentes are never going to put themselves in danger. Trump isn't going to put himself in danger. If Trump had been in that audience saying like, no, fellow MAGA-pedes, we need to go storm there and get these votes. We need to actually physically arrest the boxes and then burn the electoral votes. If Trump was in the audience, like in the mob, it would have been a very effective and actual insurrection that might have yielded some results. But of course, no, he's not going to be in the mob in Capitol Hill, storming Capitol Hill as an actual like leader of an insurrection. Like, that's not going to happen. Nick Fuentes is like 5'6". He's not going to be in a mob storming police buildings. Like, zero chance. So I fully agree with that. So I say the Dutch word of the day is this. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but it's basically proxy cringe in Dutch. And I'm just saying that because I'm hoping in my mind when I say this, he's like, he calls over his wife and he's like, what does this say? And she's like, oh, he's saying that you're embarrassing yourself and he feels embarrassed for you. Oh, great. That's how that exchange happened in my head. I don't know if it actually happened, but I will pretend it did. And then this is what made it really funny to me is that after this, after I respond to this, saying he didn't respond to, like he deleted that tweet and then like reframed our entire engagement falsely. He goes back to that tweet, the first one, and then says, and again, using quotes that don't actually quote anything. Why, yes, people who say you should not riot and get tossed in a cell are grifters and just in it for the cash. Hey, kid, you wouldn't want to make another video about Jews? That will totally smash the system. And then he posts a video game picture, because of course. And I say, you fundamentally fail to address the root issue, the bad actors, and you know it. You tell people what they want to hear. You feed them a line of hope that involves no significant change to their lives or habits, and you collect money for doing so. That is the grift. And then he replies, again, fundamentally failing to address the root issues or the real bad actors, says, I don't see you lighting any wicks. And I've never encouraged anyone to Molotov cocktail anything. And then he goes back and says, I don't see you throwing any rocks. And this tweet where he's goes back to the second thing I said, and this is at 5 p.m. This tweet that he's responding to was at 3:20, so an hour and a half later, with an hour between our last correspondence. He's still thinking about this, and he goes back to these tweets and replies again. STYXHEXENHAMMER has moved to Netherlands months before the pandemic, in a time in which the U.S. economy was at its best point since the 1980s. STYXHEXENHAMMER does nothing to encourage his fans to themselves and gets called a grifter by morons as a result. And then he likes this tweet where someone says, and this was like minutes before the stream, where someone says, he, as in me, Josh, is pretty quick to give up user data when the government asks. And then the only person to like this tweet is Styx himself. So he's like poring over the comments, trying to figure out like what the happened, who is this guy, why does he have Israeli flags, is he a Fed, is he an Antifa LARPer, like what is it? And he's liking shit that people say that make me look bad, and of course, failing to acknowledge the fact that I have to give up information when people are blatantly Fed posting on my site and the government comes knocking. Like, yeah, I have to do these things. I'm hosted in the U.S. and there's no other country I can really host in because of the U.S., despite its flaws, still remains the freest place to host a website like mine. And it's just a truly baffling exchange. And it's really weird. I think I say at some point, let me pull up my own tweets, because I say this. This is why you never look up to an e-celeb, kids. It took 5 tweets in 1 hour to reduce one of the most significant political YouTubers to being able to form a single coherent thought. Immediately, he just completely fails to substantiate himself and say that what he does is worth the money, and that it really, if he just said like, yeah, there are certain things I can't say that I really wish I could say because I know it will have financial repercussions for me. Like that's all he had to say, and instead it becomes glow more, dude. It's like you're not even attempting to refute anything that I say. And Parler and Gab and whatever are not going to save you. Gab, here's how Gab stays online. You ready? People mail checks to Andrew Torba, who is like a fat retard. And I haven't even talked about him because in like a year now, because as much as I hate Andrew Torba, as the second that Parler came, he was completely irrelevant. Gab completely lost all its steam. Nobody uses Gab over Parler, or yeah. Okay. I'm not trying to be into politics. I'm sorry. I talked more about this than I probably should have, but it's just exasperating. You know what? I have to talk about Gab before I talk about Styx. So a couple weeks ago, I want to say during the week I did not stream, Gab was hacked. Maybe it was before. It just was that Gab was hacked, and Andrew Torba made a big post saying that nothing got leaked as far as we know. We've fixed it, and problem solved. Like that, problem solved. And then a bunch of journalists came out and said, like, thousands of people have been doxxed by this Gab leak. And Andrew Torba's like, I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that at all. So, I mean, it's just journos lying to make fun of an alternative social media site they're intimidated by, making fun of us because they hate Jesus. And his Jesus shit has been extremely obnoxious lately. Completely out of nowhere, all of a sudden, every post is Christ is King, Jesus is Lord. You know, they hate us because we're Jesus and all that shit. And then this happened on Monday. And this happened on 170 different accounts, this message, including Andrew Torba's account. This is on the Babylon Bee, this screenshot. I've seen this post live on Andrew Torba's account, and I archived it. So this is not a, this is not fictitious. Dear Andrew, if you value transparency so much, why do you keep lying to your despicable users? The website has been fully compromised last week. 35 million public posts and 3 million private posts, 50,000 email addresses, and 7,000 passwords. 831 verification documents that I did not send to DDoS Secrets or anywhere else. Gab users, your leaked verification documents, which the ransom was about, are not even worth 8 bitcoins to them. If you do not care about you, they do not care about you or their 18,000 pro users. Don't worry about it. I just make mosaics. It was so easy to hack you. Maybe I'm not the first. Love, Captain Jack Sparrow. P.S. I made 3 mosaics and you catch them all. And then it's a picture of Jack Sparrow. And if you zoom in, it's very obvious to tell that these are hundreds of pictures of people holding up government ID next to their face to verify to Andrew Torba that they are who they say they are for the purposes of verifying their Gab Twitter account. And this guy, who's obviously like a leftist activist hacker, has compromised and stolen all their government IDs, courtesy of Andrew Torba, and Andrew Torba has been lying about it. And he wants 8 Bitcoin, and that's a lot. It's about $400,000 right now. But the thing is that Andrew Torba crowdfunded cryptocurrency to keep Gab afloat years ago. He definitely has more than 8 Bitcoins, and it may be worth it to pay that extortionate amount, but I don't know, you know, maybe not. Maybe he says we don't negotiate with terrorists and he's going to let them get all doxxed. And I don't know. Someone has zoomed in on the mosaic and it's really obvious that it's like all like people in their 40s and 50s who just kind of don't know what's going on, just kind of support Q, people who are clueless to the internet and shit. And Torba's been having a little bit of a mini meltdown talking about Crisis Kang on Twitter and shit, and just being Torba, just being utterly incompetent, which led me to making a very smug, gloating post on Twitter to Andrew Torba, or not to Andrew Torba, but to Styx. And I'll keep this short because I went on too long last time I talked about Styx. But I said to Styx to say, hey Styx, both of those alternative Twitter sites you told all your fans to join and give their personal information to got hacked and now their info is out there. Are you going to try the Fediverse yet, or are you going to keep guzzling tar juice, parentheses, and he replies on Minds, on Minds.com, a website I have never used ever, to say, hey, when are you going to stop making a difference? This is him quoting me fictitiously saying, damn it, Styx, you're making a difference out there, bro. You're sending your fans to get doxxed by Andrew Torba and leftist hackers. You refuse to try something that actually works. When will you give other people a chance to make a difference, Styx and Hammer? Leave some difference for the rest of us out here to make. And he says, when are you going to render your... This is a literal quote. That was me being Shakespearean. Continues, when are you going to render yourself irrelevant and waste your time on projects nobody gives a damn about? The mainstream media says every alt-tech site is hacked or a honeypot. Glowing dude via Google-made phone on Twitter. So the mainstream media says every alt-tech site is hacked or a honeypot. They were literally hacked. The 2 sites he's put up there, Gab and Parler, both got hacked. That's not me. The mainstream media says it. That literally happened, which is why he's on Minds, because at that time, Gab was still down while Andrew Torba was investigating the second breach. And then he says, I'm glowing. I don't know if he's like being secretly anti-Semitic and he doesn't know that I'm not Jewish or what. And then he says, made by a phone or a Google-made phone on Twitter. So, and number one, I would have sent this on the Fediverse first and foremost if you were actually on the Fediverse. Number two, Google made phones, so are you advocating Apple? There's two choices. You have two options when it comes to a cellular telephone. Do you want Android or Apple? That's it. And everything requires two-factor authentication now, so you at least need a smartphone capable of doing that. And I was like, what the f*** is he even talking about? And someone explained to me in his thread, and this is not bullshit, this is true, that he leaves his phone at home, and when he needs a mobile camera, he uses an Alienware laptop. He opens it and faces it forward, the webcam, and uses a $5,000 Alienware laptop to record things instead of using a telephone because he doesn't trust them. And apparently, while doing this, he has broken one of his Alienware laptops in the process of using it like a smartphone to record shit. So I don't know how that's better. I'm really glad I don't ask people for money so that I can buy overpriced bullshit and then smash it using it in a way that's completely hearted to an obvious person. And then he says, or then I reply, I just make fun of him. I'm not gonna read my own tweet because that's kind of cringe. It's on Minds, it's on Twitter, it's on the Fediverse. But my point was that why can you not take the L on this? What is it about the Fediverse that is so abhorrent to you that you can't tell people to give it a try? And he's on Minds now, and Minds intends to federate. In fact, I talked about Minds at some point, and they reached out to me and said, we're looking to federate. Do you know any people who know about the Fediverse and have experience working with it? And I asked Crunk, and he had a name, and I forwarded the name, and hopefully he got the job, and hopefully Minds is on the way to being federated. But if this idiot ever ends up on the appropriate solution to this crushing censorship of centralized services like Gab and my forum and whatever, or on Twitter, on Facebook, that the fix is the Fediverse. And if Minds ends up on it, it's not because Styx had some precognition that would be the appropriate thing to do. He just wanted another centralized service, and I don't know why. I don't know what it is that's compelling this guy to seek out the wrong answer. If he does end up on the Fediverse, quote me now, as a result of Minds federating, he's going to say that he knew it and it was his idea and he was so smart and the Fediverse was the greatest thing ever made. And it's going to be really frustrating, and I'm going to be butthurt about it when it happens. Mark my words, I'm going to be upset. And yeah, so I was hoping to stream today on Odyssey, and I'm not streaming today on Odyssey because they couldn't get together their welcome package until next week. So that's fine. If you don't know, Odyssey is sort of like a streaming front end for library, and it's sort of hard. People they up with their branding, and people don't really understand how Odyssey works, what's decentralized, what library is, how the library token plays into things. But the gist is that Odyssey is mostly centralized, but it relies kind of heavily on the library protocol, which is decentralized. So I've talked to people from there, and I have some hopes that they'll probably be safe to stream on for a while. And it's kind of like with Bat and the Brave browser. Yeah, they have their issues that kind of makes them as faulty as a lot of more mainstream alternatives. But those issues are just kind of the realities of the world. And if you want to have a successful business in the year 2021, you have to kind of abide by certain restrictions. And if you choose to ignore those realities, you end up completely. And services that are completely, for instance, would be Gab and Bitchute. And I don't have anything else to say about Gab that I didn't say last week, but Bitchute is kind of in a death spiral, and I'll explain why. This came out a while ago. This story about what is it? Hope, not hate. I think this was in December that this first got discussed, but I'm gonna kind of walk you through why it's a thing now as well. There was an announcement that Bitchute was working with an anti-hate speech group called Hope, Not Hate. And, this was 17th of July. So this was mid last year that this news came out. Scared a lot of people. There was no immediate action taken, but we've seen more murmurings that things are getting censored on Bitchute. Entire channels are getting deleted. There are certain search terms which turn up 0 results, even though they have a lot of results on Bitchute. And it's just kind of like this weird, soft censorship that's creeping in. And if you don't remember, back when I was still friendly with Ralph, so quite a while ago, I was on the Killstream. He invited me to kind of ask questions to the guy who runs Bitchute. And I asked him, because he's British, I asked him about the hate speech laws in England and how he would intend to deal with the government or NGOs coming after him, which was an inevitability. And he said that even though he was English, he lived overseas in some territory. He lived in like Indochina or some place like that. And he said it wouldn't be a big deal, and he would just move it if something happened that jeopardized the operation of Bitchute. And it's come to fruition that's not the option that he chose to go with. He is trying to bend with the demands of the mainstream, and it's hard to blame him, but at the same time, because it's a completely centralized service, and because he's also censoring, it's hard to say like, oh, well, I'm going to continue to use this as an archive, because what good is an archive that's centralized and censorious? There's no point to it. So I would like to move all of my archives to library in the future. And the only thing that's stopping me from doing that right now is that library does not let you set a publishing date. If you upload a new video, it's considered published as soon as you upload it. So I would very much prefer if the archives were sorted in a index by publishing date, which I could set when I uploaded it. And I'll probably pitch that to them, and hopefully they'll update the protocol to support such a thing, because that's really holding me back. But for right now, everything is still uploaded as an MP3 to the RSS feed, and it will be that way for some time. I'm also starting the practice of uploading my streams to the site manatheinternet.com for long-term storage. But I'm just going to give up on Bitchute entirely, because he's encountered a thing which I've kind of conceptually understood to be true without really having a name for it. And but before I get into that, let me just point out something that makes me laugh, because once again, Styx cannot stop supporting these centralized platforms with all of his heart that end up very soon after. So this is that article about Hope Not Hate came out in July 17th. This response video was December 14th. So even 6 more months after that, still the platform obviously circling the drain. No new blood because of a problem I've explained before, and I'll explain again after the clip.
All right, everyone. Of course, I wake up in the morning and I have half a dozen messages on Twitter and elsewhere telling me that Bitchute is sold out and I need to respond to it. So I am going to respond. First and foremost, Bitchute has not sold out. And I'm going to try to explain the situation. However, first I do have to tell you, you should join me not just on Bitchute, but also on Odyssey, Dailymotion, and Rumble. Links in the description of this video, and on YouTube, a pinned comment. I'm shadow banned on YouTube. They don't like me anymore. I didn't play nice. I get a timeout. I'm on the naughty list for this Christmas because I have political beliefs that differ from Sundar Pichai. If you are going to watch me on YouTube, though, you should share out the link somewhere that'll actually be searchable, because, trust me, log out of your YouTube account, search by username, and see what you find. Not a whole lot of me, unfortunately. I'm shadow banned on the platform. That being said, also I should probably note this as well, because I've had some people claim, anonymously of course, I wonder why, oh, STYXHEXENHAMMER is getting paid by Bitchute to defend them. No, I actually pay Bitchute $20 a month. I have a gold membership. I don't take a penny from anybody. Nobody pays me for what I do other than my fans through Patreon, Subscribestar, tips, super chats, and things like that. That's how I get my money, and from my books. No site has a sponsorship deal with me. I'm not under any form of contract whatsoever from any entity, individual, or business. Getting that out of the way to clear the air. The blog post that people are currently mentioning in response to the banning of the Nordic resistance movement's page off of Bitchute, and I'll get into that a little semi-separately. First and foremost, let me show you. The blog post is from July. It has...
So I'll cut him off there because he just basically white knighting for Bitchute the entire time. Here's what happened in 2020. In 2020, things got very serious for platforms that were trying to posit themselves as a alternative to mainstream tech, but which allowed hate speech. And I've come across in some exploration of this topic since that what happens is companies end up having to pay these PR firms, and these PR firms are in bed with tech companies and media companies in the US. And I'm not talking like broad conspiracy, in bed with. I'm just saying they're friends of friends. They know each other, and this is their business model. They know how to get articles published into big publications like the Washington Post and the Huffington Post. Things that normies read, things that not just normies read, things that actually, let me explain that later. The gist is that these companies ask for money. We'll manage your PR. We'll get you in bed with the ADL. We'll get you in bed with Hope Not Hate. You'll take some suggestions for how to moderate your platform so that it looks like you're doing the bare minimum. You pay us for the service, obviously. And then when tech companies, when journalists start asking questions about your platform, they'll come to us, and they're friends of ours. We all go out and drink soy lattes together in San Francisco and Austin, and we'll clear up these misunderstandings, and life will go on, and you won't be raped to death. And that's what companies have to do, and that's what Bitchute ended up doing in 2020. So their bare minimum is like make it so that when you search Hitler, you get 0 results, right? That's the bare minimum. And that's like the quid pro of that industry. And it's more than just like bad PR. If you understand how Wikipedia works, you understand why these articles are so important. Wikipedia has a policy of known trustworthy publications, which means that you cannot say anything on Wikipedia, no matter how true, if it's what's considered original research. So you have to cite especially you can slip comments into Wikipedia with no source that are completely false and nobody will care. But if it's an article with a topic that people are contentious about, like politics, like if a website is hate speech or not, then they really want you to have a source for it. So once things like Washington Post and the Huffington Post and Snopes especially start publishing these claims that a website is hate speech, then it can be introduced into a Wikipedia article as a verified fact with the actual source from a reputable website that Wikipedia can wash its hands of any proprietary first-person claims. And if you want to get that removed, well, you're going to have to find another more reputable source to counter that. And even then, it just says Bitchute is considered a hate speech site by these people, but some people say it's just a failure of moderation policy, quote number 678. And that's how it works. And then Wikipedia, of course, is the #1 favorite source of information for Google. So you type in Bitchute, and if Wikipedia says that Bitchute is a hate speech site, then it will say on the top right in the little info box, Bitchute is a hate speech hotspot used by white nationalists to promote conspiracy videos. Citation 12345. And then that will be the blurb that almost everyone sees about your site. And then there's no way that you're ever going to get serious traffic to your site. And there's no way that you're going to be able to get people who have their own reputations to manage, like PewDiePie, to come and post their videos on your site. The only people you'll ever have posting videos to your site are people like Styx, and they're worth precisely nothing. I do want to say that it's extremely funny to me personally that Styx repeats over and over again that he's shadow banned because he doesn't get the search results for his name that he would prefer. He says this on a channel that is monetized, that is attached to his Patreon, that's attached to 8 different other kinds of monetize machinations, and which he has enjoyed for years, and which supports his lifestyle and everything about him. He has no issues collecting money. And he reminds me of Sagittarius Shoddy when he says this, because he also says, I think I'm shadow banned. I don't get as many viewers as I used to. I think I'm shadow banned. And it's like, no, you're not shadow banned. You just don't know what you're doing. And I don't know, shadow ban has become like a catch-all normie term for just like, I'm not making as much money as I used to, because people are bored of my takes, and therefore I'm shadow banned. There's no way that this could be a personal shortcoming or a malignment of my business practices. It's just Google. Google personally has stepped down to make sure that my profits are 37% what they used to be last year this quarter. That's shadow ban. It's just bullshit. So I think I explained in full all of that. Yeah, I mentioned Wikipedia and stuff. Yeah, it's rough, man. So companies like Brave and Odyssey, they have to play ball with this reality, and the best you can hope for is someone who is a savvy businessman first and foremost, and then like a savant who's attached to certain types of technology, and the libertarian that supports free speech. Like that's your ideal company owner, and that's your people like Brendan Eich and the people who run the library company. So my hopes are high for Odyssey, more so than places like Bitchute, obviously.
Okay, and this is weird. I've heard conflicting stories about this. STYXHEXENHAMMER666, who I've made fun of repeatedly for always avoiding real solutions to problems and only instead sucking up to random centralized companies trying to get affiliate deals so he can make money. And actually, this isn't even the most schizophrenic tweet that he put out. Hopefully, is this one up here? Oh, here, this. Styx put out a tweet saying, there's one dude who is about to suffer 1,000 problems. Hey there, Stain. You should not have messed with someone like me. I don't care if you deal drugs. I'll have the mafia deal with you if I need to yourself. Like, put out really, 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 really bizarre messages. He was uploading videos from him in a dark room. And apparently what he has done is that he's moved into, back to the U.S., and he says, many people online speculating about my sudden return to the U.S., etc. My private life is private. Speculate all you want, LOL. If you don't remember, because I haven't talked about him in a while, because he's extremely forgettable. He was somebody that I took issue with because he was someone I wanted to like, who had a moderate amount of influence. And instead of promoting any like real platform that had any real chance of undoing the power structure of the internet, he would just hop from dick to dick. He would suck up to BitChute, and then he'd suck up to Minds, and then he would suck up to Rumble. Rumble did take off, but he would just like continually try to prop up alt tech that at the time before Rumble had no chance of succeeding, because he didn't care about a solution to a problem. He cared about finding somebody who could potentially give him kickbacks for promoting their platform, which is eventually what he found with Rumble. But he had left the United States, so he was like a American politics commentator that left the United States, and he got married to like a Dutch woman and was living in the Netherlands, and eventually kind of kicking around the idea of coming back to the US, but never did. And then suddenly out of nowhere, he shows up at the US, starts publishing videos of himself in dark rooms, ranting, putting out vague tweets about sicking the mafia on drug dealers. And then someone noticed that and while doing all this vague posting and attention whoring like a child, he says, there have been people online speculating about my sudden return to the US. My private life is private. Speculate all you want. LOL. Like, you put all this shit out there. How can you complain that people are speculating about your private life when you've made it public and are just like being very vague about it? But he did. He found issue with anything. And then someone pointed out that his wife's his wife's YouTube channel has had all recent videos removed. Doesn't have any content, actually. So 4 years of content has just disappeared, and they say that they can't see his wedding ring on in any videos.
And so it appears that he had a really sudden breakup. Perhaps he lost his girlfriend to a drug dealer or something, and now is threatening to sick the mafia on him in public from Twitter. This is what STYXHEXENHAMMER666 is up to these days. I don't know. Maybe you should have posted to the Fediverse, loser. STYXHEXENHAMMER666, who I've made fun of many times because he is basically just a sucker that jumps between different to suck. Like, if any company offers any centralized service that doesn't actually offer any solutions, any problems, offers him like a sponsorship or a deal, he's like immediately on that dick. And now he's having an issue where, as a hardcore libertarian, he's defending the practice of eating dogs, which, as you know, libertarians love Asian women. And I think that he's supposed to have like a Dutch girlfriend, right? He's the one with a Dutch girlfriend. So I don't know if they broke up or something. I think he moved back to the United States. I don't know if they parted ways. And now he's trying to pick up like Asian women, but now he's really big about defending dogs. Or eating dogs, sorry. Everybody defends dogs, but he eats the dogs.
Don't understand exactly why you would think that this particular ban is going to work so supremely well as opposed to banning anything else under the sun. You have nations, for example, like I think Singapore, if I remember correctly, in which having a little bit of weed carries a death sentence. And yet people still do drugs there. They still traffic it in, at great risk to themselves. If outright killing people for a practice is not going to stop the practice from happening, then unless that practice specifically violates the NAP or is really, really egregious, like a rape or murder or something like that, then there shouldn't be any enforced law at all. It shouldn't exist. You can dissuade people with fines, although I don't particularly agree with that either. I don't fully comprehend how you can, on an objective scale, say eating the dog is evil and gross and wrong, but eating the cow is perfectly fine.
Dude, he has to have an Asian girlfriend. Someone in chat, back me up. Is he dating an Asian woman? This has to be happening.
I find it to be very, very hypocritical, and I think that this particularly will create a black market. It will not actually solve any problems. There are other nations in Asia where dogs will continue to be raised and butchered and consumed. They will be imported. They'll be smuggled in. People in Korea. I mean, are you going to spy on anyone who owns a dog?
Someone in chat says he's dating a cat. Maybe he's dating a cat boy. Maybe that's the issue.
Make sure they're not breeding them for sale on the meat market. That's going to be a little bit onerous now, won't it?
Bro. Styx abandoned his child. He has a child? So this is the issue with like moral relativism, because he's like a Satanist, right? His name is STYXHEXENHAMMER and shit. So he belongs to that type of Satanism where like I think the type of Satanism where it's like everything that you do is like perfectly fine. Nobody has any say about what you do to your own body. And it's very like individualist. And so, like, his point is, like, what's the difference between a dog and a cow? Like, technically, they're none, because they're both animals that aren't humans. Therefore, the dog does not have an NAP. But everyone instinctively knows that that's except Asian people. I've discussed this with Asian people who I am friends with, and I will relay what Asian people simply have a different relationship with animals. To Asian people. And I'm not being racist, this is literally what I've been told, and I believe them. To Asian people, animals are a tool. Animals don't exist to be friends of mankind. I think the relationship between man and animal is very special and unique to white people. I will go on record saying that. I think that humans, when I say humans, I'm referring to white people. Whitey and dog evolved together. Whitey and cat domesticated, evolved together. And now we have a special relationship with animals that no other people on Earth enjoy. And Asians like dogs, they like cats, but they're very able to draw a distinction between an animal that is a pet and an animal that is a tool. And many Asians simply see animals as having utility, even animals that are pets. Because if you ever watch like cute animal compilations and stuff, you will notice that Asian people breed animals for certain qualities that are attractive, but which are debilitating to the animal. Like the Munchkin cats are a great example of that. A cat should not be a Munchkin. A Munchkin cat is like a pug of cats. It looks cute, but it's a debilitated animal that's been bred to have defects that reduce its quality of life. And white people would object to this and say this is cruel. Asian people don't care, because the purpose of that animal, that utility of that animal, is to look cute, and more specifically to look cute for TikTok and Instagram. And that's just something that Asian people just do, is they in the same way that you might, like in the past, people would breed animals for herding or for hunting or for finding people in the Alps or for whatever purpose, for safeguarding children and so on and so forth. There's many different purposes for animals. An Asian person in the modern era will look at an animal and say, we can breed this to look especially cute on social media, because social media is a way to earn revenue, and therefore the animal's purpose is to look cute on social media. And there is not like a pet owner bond there like a normal pet. It's like, this is why this animal exists. This is why I take care of it. This is why we bred it this way. It is to make ad revenue on Facebook, which is why they're okay drugging it and doing other weird things to animals so that they can pose them more easily for pictures. There's like an entire cottage industry of animal abuse that is that outputs cute stuff. So to us, it looks cute, but to them, it's like we're breeding these animals to have defects so that we can sedate them and then subject them to multiple hours of professional photography so that our cute animal channel will make a viral post that gets millions of views and thousands of dollars. So the relationship between, what I'm trying to say is the relationship between animal and man in most places of the world, but especially Asia, is very different than in Europe. And I think that's evident just by how people, even how immigrants and non-whites in the West treat animals. It's very different from how white people do animals. This is racist. Welcome to my podcast. I hope you are enjoying. Feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, and super chat if you really enjoy. Anyway, that is this guy. Oh, there's more. Long Hunter says, I was in South Korea back in 2001, and I still speak a couple of people that live there. What makes dog meat a delicacy is the issue, and an issue is that the dogs are literally alive while hanging from hooks. That's the other thing. Asians have no concept of, like, a humane kill. Like, even in Switzerland, if you want to, there are laws in Switzerland where if you want to kill if you want to eat a crab or a lobster, you have to kill it first. There are special tools to destroy the brain of a crustacean before you boil it, so that it is still very fresh and very tasty, but it's not suffering, and there is a level of assurance there. In Asia, they will literally flay an animal alive and put it on a plate, and you are expected to eat the flesh from the still living animal on your plate. That's what like in Japan, not like in, there's a word for it. It's like pokey pokey or some shit, doki pokey doki, some other gay ass word. It's like a double word like that. Like it's pocky pocky. When you get pocky pocky, it's a fish that's like still alive and looking at you and flopping around, but it's like splayed open so you can pull the flesh out of it. And it's a real thing, and it's a delicacy.
But is there an objective basis to that, or is that just my fifis? Ultimately, it's literally nothing more than my fifis. I can say, well, the cat is more intelligent than a lot of other animals. They can learn tricks. They're very helpful. Okay, cows can be helpful too. Grazing, keeping the field nice and mushy with their poo-poo and stuff like that, and they're cute, and they make mooey noises, and they're intelligent too. Maybe not as intelligent as a cat, but, reasonably intelligent. But nobody has a problem with eating them, again, outside of the Hindu majority. It's ultimately, at the end of the day, it's unhelpful, it's hypocritical, and it can't work. That's the whole problem. The main problem is just it's not pragmatic at all. That's about all. Peace out.
I hate people that think they're smart. I think I'm retarded. So if I say something retarded, people go, that's pretty on brand for Josh. He's retarded. And then when I say something intelligent, people are like, wow, that's a good point. I didn't expect retard to say that. Styx, on the other hand, thinks that he's a genius and that everything that he says is like a divinely inspired wisdom. Like he's coming down in those bathrobes from the top of Mount Sinai, not Mount Zion. I was corrected. With the tablets that say the 10 Commandments, number 1 commandment, thou shalt eat dog. Because but when you just listen to what he says, like, you're I do not know the intrinsic difference. I don't know. Maybe he's a vegan. Is Styx a vegan? I would imagine not, but I think that people would make the argument, vegetarians would make the argument that you can eat, because it's that famous billboard. Like, here, let me try to find it real quick. Okay, this is like a very famous meme, but it's a billboard from PETA, and it says, all animals want to live, where do you draw the line? And then it says veganbillboard.com. And it's a list of animals from like the least edible to like the most edible. So it starts with cats, French bulldogs, a little kitten, a big puppy, I forget what they call them. It's like a hound dog. A big fluffy kitty cat. Oh, sorry, that was an English bulldog, and then a French bulldog, and then a golden retriever, and then a bunny rabbit, and then a horse, and then a chicken. Well, obviously you draw the line between the horse and the chicken. Unless you're Swedish, and then you draw it between the rabbit and the horse. Unless you're French, Swedish, and then you draw it between the dog and the bunny. Because they also have those meat dogs, and they're Flemish. It's the Flemish that eat the rabbits. Yeah. I mean, the real reason, I think the only thing that's wrong about this is that the rabbit is more edible than the horse. Because the horse and the dogs and the cats all serve a purpose to mankind. Cats were domesticated because they incidentally serve the purpose of Mausers. Domesticated cats are hunting animals. They keep pests. They even eat like cockroaches and spiders and all sorts of nasty shit that wander around. My cats would eat palmetto bugs and big oogly spiders and shit. So they were nice to have around. And then you have dogs, who serve a myriad of purposes. And then you have bunny rabbits who don't have a purpose. They're just pets. Horses have a purpose too. They have less purpose now because we have vehicles. But yeah, it's like none of those other animals serve a purpose. And the only other alignment that exists is the cow. Because I think that, I think that in Hindu, the reason why they worship cows is because they provide milk. So I think that they had to make it like a religious principle to not kill and eat cows because they were more useful providing milk. And they had to like teach people like, no, really, don't kill the cows because we can milk them, you f***ards. And it took it making like a divine principle for them to understand what a dairy cow is. And they wouldn't just kill the cows on the fields. Horse meat is good, though. I've never had it. Simping for rabbits. Dude, rabbits are food. I'm sorry, does that make me like a psychopath? A rabbit serves no purpose. It doesn't do anything. It's a pet. You can keep them as a pet, but don't get it twisted. Guinea pigs and rabbits are food. It depends on like what level of tragedy we're at. You know, if we're in like a vegan utopia and everyone gets their soybean paste, and I guess nothing is food. But if you're in any level of like survival, then that line starts getting further and further to the left. There's some STYXHEXENHAMMER talking about gargling balls. Let's take a listen.
Because I saw it on Fear Factor. They weren't bad, actually. A little bit chewy, but otherwise they tasted a little bit like steak, honestly. Anyway, talking about CNN.
So this man is so... I think that he's still in that fight where he's arguing with people about eating dogs. Like, this guy is so high up on the libertarian level and so yellow fever lusting that he's just like, ha, delicious dog soup. And then people still give him shit about this. He's like, well, I ate a bow testicle. Yummy, yummy. Tastes like a nice steak. Cool, bro. Nice. Happy for you. So this happened I became aware of this very, very, very recently, and I'm about to hit you guys. A lot of the time when I talk about stuff on the internet, there's generally two broad categories of things that I talk about. Things that everybody has kind of seen if they pay attention to the forum or other internet drama stuff, and then some random stuff I dig up just for funsies. This is neither. I think that this is the biggest thing that nobody has talked about yet. On the Kamala Trump debate thing, there were quite a few different podcasters and streamers who did live coverage of the debate, as is natural for a debate streamer. This guy, Tarl Warwick, aka STYXHEXENHAMMER666, decided that he would introduce his girlfriend on stream as he watched the debate. And since the debate is so bad, he would of course have a little bit of alcoholic beverages as he did so. This resulted in what is perhaps the most uncomfortable moment ever captured on a live stream. Those of weak disposition, avert your gaze.
Hey, this is my darling. Yes.
You done?
No.
Okay.
Only slightly.
So if you don't know, if you're only listening, he groped his girlfriend sitting on the couch next to him through her clothes, and the visible physical discomfort on display is like skin crawling, and his weird like yes, my darling. That like his voice on top of this is like the creepiest thing that's ever been recorded since like Pogo the Clown. Now, they're in a relationship, but this in and of itself is some level of complexity. Tarl is married, and there's been some speculation since he left the Netherlands, where his wife is from, that he has split with his wife, which is interesting because he has children with his wife. But that wouldn't be the first time that he's had children with a woman and then left her, because that's actually his second wife, and he has 3 children. The woman sitting next to him is a 30-year-old woman that he's had a prior relationship with that ended on bad terms. How do I know this, chat? Because she's a user of the Kiwi Farms, and in 2019, she joined to tell her story with her experience with Tarl Warwick. She was impregnated by him, and at 6 weeks, he told her that you will have an abortion, and she claims that she terminated her pregnancy to stay in a relationship with him, which he did not keep up with. She even moved to live with him in Vermont. This woman has had 3 other children with different men. So the both of them have 3 kids with different people that they're no longer in the lives of. And her experience sounds like that she's left the children to be with Tarl. She is a drug user, and so is Tarl. So the two of them live in Vermont, live stream, have very, very awkward relations with each other, and have 3 kids that they do not participate in the lives of, so that they can sit on the couch and smoke weed and stream. So that is to say that this video not only is the most awkward thing ever captured on a live stream, it is also a window into the fact that Tarl Warwick is absolute fucking white trash, the likes of which have never been seen before. Like, before this, it was just kind of like, oh, he uses an Alienware laptop as like a flashlight. He refuses to own a phone. He doesn't want to use any technology that actually works because he is waiting for something like Rumble to come along so that he can get money from them. Just like grifter, retard, piece of shit, dumb. But now it's like, oh, you're actual garbage. Your whole libertarian thing is that you're a man-child retard and you're white trash. I get it now. Now it makes sense. So, I was going to post this on my Twitter, but I don't know how to do it, because this is effectively a kind of like sexual harassment at the very least, and it could be full-blown assault because she's so obviously not into it, and he's just live streaming this. So I don't know if I should, like, for the Twitter, if I should like censor her face. I don't know if I should censor the groping. I'm debating what to do about it. But I'm gonna, Tarl, I remember when I told you to join the Fediverse, and you called me a retard. Swiggity sweetie, I'm a very patient person. I wait for the day that you grope a woman that you force to have an abortion on camera, and then I strike like a inland Taipei, okay? I remember. Don't get carried away. Well, I'm open to suggestions if you guys have a theory. It's not like now, as is often the case, because the internet drama streamers and the turkey toms of the world, they have their people watch this stream and then they learn from it and they make something out of whatever I show. And I think that like, mark my fucking words, this is like weird. The Styx is like, in general, Styx is popular still somehow, and he's in general weird and unlikable. And as I mentioned, this is one of the most profoundly awkward things ever captured on webcam, so expect that to happen. Tip the cow. Oh, I'm rocking this boat. Don't rock the boat, baby. Don't tip the boat over. Let me read her post, actually. She says, hey, so all the things you guys could have looked into, my Steam account was it. Wow, you spread photos of Nayella's Instagram, yet you failed to look into mine where I'm clearly drinking from the original Styx mug. By the way, she's wearing his merch. Like, he's grabbing her booba through his own merch. It's crazy. And she's wearing the stupid-ass hat. Look, here's the thing. Taro did something that I never could have imagined would have happened to me. He manipulated me into aborting our child on November 17th at 6 weeks, saying that if I chose to keep it, he would refuse to be emotionally invested and would only provide whatever fiscal support he was able. He would guilt me, saying that he didn't think I was ready to be a mother at 24, and he wasn't ready to be a father at 30. He said that if I was afraid to go to the doctor, he would concoct a tea using herbs from his garden and that I wouldn't taste it or even know. Quote, it would be like a heavy period and we can get this behind us. I am a faithful... So Tarl is growing abortion herbs in his backyard? How often does he need the abortion tea that he's just growing abortion herbs willy-nilly in his back garden in Vermont? I would like some clarity to the statement. Can we get the Kiwi Farms drone to visit his house in Vermont and identify the abortion herbs in the backyard? She says, I am faithful, loyal, a pretty damn good cook, and I was kind until I punched him in the face for lying to me for an entire year. He still lies to me. It took a very long time, but I have moved on. I'm in a happy, loving relationship with an amazing, honest man. We're expecting a child in a couple months. So I think that she abandoned this child, I think who was also like her third child, so that she could go do drugs with Tarl. Have some Bordy tea. Homebrewed Bordy tea, as God intended. If Tarl wishes to live out his days with Elizabeth, by all means he can try. I'm aware that people are capable of changing, in quotes, but I lived with him and his family for over a year, with promise of change, and it was all a lie. I learned from a very young age that lying only creates more problems, so I do my best to tell the truth. That being said, there are always two or more sides to every story, so they can all be truthful in conflict. I actually left a comment on her profile saying run, and I'm going to add an addendum. Never mind. You deserve each other. I think I need to correct that original statement, chat. I think I've had a change of opinion. How do we feel about this? How do we feel about this, chat? Give me your opinions. I'm reading. Give me a second to drink some water. Give me your take, chat. She's a philosopher, sis. Feeling pretty good. Based. Ricada level parenting. Not quite. We're getting there, though. She knows who he is and is choosing it, frowny face. Maybe she's there to get revenge. What do I think about this? Wait, can I... Oh, I can click things. That's right. Hold up. Just depressing. I do not care. Drink the tea. Sneed. Shit's... Josh is harsh but honest. Thank you. I appreciate that. I can fix her. Them both. BPD. Feeling like I need some Bordy tea. Don't do it. Don't ever drink anything from Tarl's garden. You don't know what... He's like a dank gothic Satanist herbologist, okay? You don't know what kind of pots he's brewing. You don't want to know what kind of Ranar weed he's putting into your drinks. A match made in hell. The pair of them, they're both facepalm. Delete post. Suffa Styx. Let it play out. It will be funny. I like your thinking. I think you are onto something. You get government you deserve, but the baby data you deserve. I mean, not yet. Maybe they'll have another. This fourth one's the charm. Fifth one, she's like almost pushed out like an entire squad of U.S. soldiers. You can tell that she's pretty low IQ. So her kids are going to be our finest infantrymen. She gets 3 more kids at a Tarl. We got an entire like squadron. They can send those guys into Ukraine in a couple years. STYXHEXENHAMMER666 went to New Orleans and then went to jail in New Orleans for domestic battery. This is Tara Warwick's incarceration booking page. Wasn't booked on September 30th. His next court date was on the 1st of October, and he ended up waiting 4 full days, I think. Actually, I think less than that, like 2 or 3 days. And he was bailed out by none other than the quartering. For whatever reason, the quartering took pity, and as soon as he heard about the domestic battery charges, he said, I got a free man. So he got on the phone, and he paid a $5,000 cash bond to Tarl to get him out of jail. This led many people to laugh at him for being a godless heathen that runs around beating women. He traveled all the way from Vermont to New Orleans to beat a woman and got arrested for it. And I find him smug and insufferable. I'll play, after these days of silence, he comes out and he basically just makes a boring video. I'll play like a little bit of it. This video has 200,000 views, but he says absolutely nothing in it.
Alright everyone, talk about weird times. You probably were wondering where I was for an entire week. Actually, I was in jail. Don't worry, I'm gonna have no problem with the charges. They're pretty spurious. But I do have some fun stories in regards to that. Now, of course, I'm not going to talk about the specifics of the case for legal reasons. And actually, it turns out that Jeremy, the quartering, was the one that posted my bond. So, big shout out to him. I owe him a number of free live streams as a result of this. I just wanted to tell a little bit about the experience, though. You get dragged off by the police, get booked and all this bullshit. And then you go to jail. Not prison, it's just jail. Temporary holding while they, figure out sort of what's going on. Then you have to go and do a court date and give your testimony and stuff like that, and then they figure it out later. Here's my experience. Overall, there were some very unpleasant things about it, but then there were things about it that were surprisingly easygoing. For instance, one of the first things that I saw when I arrived in the jail was actually a dude snorting cocaine. He had a little white packet and he was chopping it up with his fingers, and then he had a little straw and he was snorting it. I'm like, what? How did you get it in here? Then I realized, oh shit, they don't really have any drug checking in here. It was an older dude too. It was a dude in his 60s, and I thought that was surreal. I'm like, that's the first time, by the way, that I've even seen cocaine, and it happens to be in a jail holding cell. But prior to, getting your orange jumpsuit and shit like that. That was strange. Then at another point, let me talk about one unpleasant experience first. In well, they're not really cells, but little glassed off rooms that, you get locked into at night. You're sleeping 12 people to a room, in a room that's way, way smaller than my bedroom at Justana. And unfortunately, they have a shortage of blankets there. And so I slept on a bare floor for a week, with no covering at all. I was lucky if I could get a little towel to use, fold it up and use as a pillow just for my head to keep that from hurting.
I've got bruises on my arms and on my legs as a result of this. It was almost unbearable, that part, because I tend to be an insomniac anyway, so that wasn't necessarily...
Okay, I'm back. What did I miss? The summary of his story is that, well, yes, I was arrested for domestic violence in New Orleans. No, I won't talk about it. Also, I went to jail, and let me tell you how cool jail was. Me and the cool kids hang out doing drugs and marijuana, and everyone was very impressed by my strength and testicular fortitude, and I was very cool in jail, and so on and so forth. And take it easy, peace. Also, I'll beat my charges, I think is what he says. I don't know. This guy lives in Copesville. I hate Styx. I hate how he talks. I hate everything about his online personality. I hate the fact that he gropes women who are not consenting to it on camera. I hate the fact that he married a woman and then had a child with her and then abandoned her in the Netherlands to move to the United States to get... I hate the fact that he forced a woman to induce abortion using homegrown abortion medicine that he grows in his own garden, because apparently he does this so often he doesn't want to go to the store and leave like a paper trail. So he just grows abortion stuff in his own garden for it. It's just kind of a gigantic piece of shit, and I feel like if he gets chewed up by some crazy bitch in Nolans, he probably deserves it. Enjoy prison, soccer child. On the last episode of Mad at the Internet, we discussed how STYXHEXENHAMMER, aka Tara Warwick, aka a man that fondled a woman's breast very uncomfortably after giving her a garden homegrown abortion tea, was arrested for domestic battery in Nolans and was sent to the Nolans Parish Prison, which is actually a jail for some reason. There, he sleeplessly waited in a room with 12 black men who did drugs in front of him and in front of jail guards, awaiting to be bailed out by Jeremy Hambley, aka the Quartering, who now owns his soul, apparently. STYXHEXENHAMMER maintains his innocence, says that he will beat the charges, but in the time since then, some weird shit has happened. First of all, Samantha Catherine, who is identified to be somebody that he knows, probably the woman, says, so without trying to start more shit than has already been started, I could use some help. Those who know me well know I hate asking for help. I don't like others feeling responsible for me because I've learned it gives others a superiority complex when they think they bought the right to control me. And then there's a quote, when everyone is done grifting off the drama of my trauma, feel free to donate to my Cash App or PayPal so I can move the hell on from people who think they own me and can threaten my finances, threaten my life, my husband and kids. That would be great. It's in my bio. So that's a weird thing to say because Styx beat her, I guess, and she has husband and kids. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. Then this extraordinarily weird video was posted from this YouTube channel, but this user who made his first post, I want to say, not even. This user archived it. So it's a very weird video, and we'll listen to it together. The editing choices are not mine, obviously.
Look at the picture.
So super, super weird intro. The still frames show her with a bloody nose, I want to say. Has that happened yet? No, nice.
I swear to you, you've made your bed, now lay in it. I don't care if you're crying. It makes no difference to me. You've treated me like absolute shit this entire time. I'm 1,000 miles away from my home, with a person who apparently I can't trust at all as my guide. Do you know how that feels? You won't answer the question because, of course, the question invalidates your particular opinions. How lovely. I'm so imperfect. I'm so terrible. And you're just everything about you is perfect and divine. With your tarot cards.
Okay, so that was a weird one. It then cuts to 3 messages before ending. The first one is, Tarl saying, why don't you just talk this out with me, Sam? I am trying to be reasonable and I know you care for me, but I will not survive another jailhouse rock. This is supposedly him trying to get her to cooperate to have the charges dropped because he doesn't want to go back to jail. And then there's another message. He says, at great hazard, I send you one last response to the message you left in the room. I am not cheating and won't. I didn't mean to hit you with the phone. I will never find someone as great as you. I have commanded Mom to let you stay at blank. If in need, and yes, you may reside at blank, my lawyer will push for the charge to be dropped, and I hope to return soon. This is all my fault, and I will stay off alcohol for life. I saw alcohol yesterday and felt only disgust for it in myself. I humiliated my family, hazarded my work, and worst of all, now you aren't beside me. I beg forgiveness and will become the man I need to be. I doubt you ever want me again, but if there's even a 1 in a million chance, I will go the distance. You can why, but I dare not say anything further except I love you. Be safe, and I will abide by the protection order. I will never deserve someone as perfect as you, and I will feel guilt for this forever. And then there's a random picture of, I'm assuming I thought that was Narcissist, but it's just the naked lady, so I don't know what's going on there. So there you go. That is the Tarl update. It's hard to say if this is real. There's a lot of people in the replies to the Kiwi Farms tweet on Zitter saying that this is AI generated. Because it doesn't sound like him on his YouTube videos. Like, it's his voice, but it sounds different. And I'm just like, he probably sounds different when he's talking down to a woman that he's throwing shit at. And trying to, like, wear her down versus how he talks to his audience when he's, like, comfortable in his zone. I imagine people sound way different in those circumstances. But it's hard to imagine that that's AI. It doesn't sound like it. So there's that. There's a lot of people making fun of Hambly for bailing him out, but we'll see how this turns out. I don't like him, so. The other thing that I really want to talk about was that STYXHEXENHAMMER did appear on the Ralph Retort, and in fact, he requested it. He requested to appear on Ralph's stream to a couple hundred viewers, a smattering of viewers, to state his case that he is not guilty of domestic battery. And he did so over like a 3-hour-long discussion with Ethan Ralph on the Killstream. I have no... It's such a weird thing where it's like, why do people... Styx's main audience is like a magnitude higher than Ralph's. So what's the point of going onto Ralph's stream to talk about it? It's really a bizarre decision. I didn't watch this when it happened, and I have preloaded all of these clips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play them, and I will play them until I'm bored of them. You ready? Here we go.
Yeah, I've done dumb things too, and I need to get off the alcohol, and I admit to that. And that was. But I never strangled anyone. I never beat anyone up. That never happened. That's not even the allegation against me.
No, it's not.
And so people can themselves.
No, I was just telling you that's what they try to say about me.
Yeah, I know.
And I can say I've never done either one of those things either.
So just so you know, I remember this because I did watch a little bit of this, and he was randomly talking about killing women. Six had already left. I tuned in after the fact, and he was talking about killing women randomly. Well, what I remember though is that Ralph must have been so ugly, so sunburned, so disgusting looking that he didn't even try to grayscale his face out into his preview image. He instead inserted a poorly cropped screenshot of him wearing a cowboy hat and put that as his webcam. So he doesn't even show up in this. He doesn't even make an appearance, but he pretends. And I don't know if it's he just assumes that nobody would notice that he's not there and it's just a still image, or if his OBS layout literally does not have a view where he can show his screen without also showing his webcam. Because he's never done that before, at least in a couple of years. So He just doesn't have a... He had to put something there. And instead of putting something funny, he just puts a picture of himself. And it's really weird.
But it still doesn't stop people from saying...
Supposedly we're two bad hombres, dude.
Right, I was about to say,
hombres.
we were so bad. All right, let me ask you this question because it came in from the Duke of Dudley. He says...
I think that battering your domestic partner is probably the least cool in offenses. It's like, okay, least cool is like child offenses. And then above that is like the offenses. Basically all the offenses are like the bottom. But then you get to like domestic battery. Going to jail for battery is not like a bad hombre type of like jail sentence. Bad hombre is going to jail for like murder or for like being a hitman or something. That's basically the same thing, but or slinging dope or something. Not or running like a trafficking ring or something. It's not like I threw my phone at my girlfriend and I said I had commanded mother to do something. That's not really the cool kid crimes.
Paying my tithe, long live the sector. From a duke to a king, kudos to Lord Styx for being the man of his household. 'Tis refreshing to see a fellow man command mother. I don't know what a man command mother is, but
it's a regards to the audio that was released.
Okay, all right. Again, I didn't say
command
I do
mother.
not appreciate niggas.
Okay, never mind. I like him. He's cool. Me and Styx we're mending it. This is the heel stream. You just got to say the magic word.
You didn't say that one in the New Orleans jail.
No, people would have been fine with it, actually. They were among the most chill people I've ever goddamn met.
He keeps talking about how awesome everybody... It was like so cool. It was like super cool. Like all the
I haven't been convicted of any crime at all.
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret, and you probably already know this. It's not innocent until proven guilty in America. It's actually guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah,
and it's a shame because you're taught in civics class growing up, right, that innocent until proven guilty and this, that, and the other. And, you know,
Good luck, dude. Anything
the state puts out, even with Diddy. Now,
even with Diddy. And when the government says a black man was raping boys, I'm like, that's a cool black man. I don't know if I can co-sign
Jesus
that.
H. Christ.
Now, I have, first off, we hit the goal. Let me hit the applause button because we did hit the goal. We're on to the extendo here. And I had a question come in from
Was that clip? Just him doing the
stuff
horns?
like with Ricada, too. And it's like all this stuff is put into a document.
I put my foot out for him. And it's like he hasn't been charged with anything. They're saying that he does like fuck tons of drugs and crazy shit like that. Well, where's the proof? There is none. None. There's absolutely no proof whatsoever.
Yeah, and again,
poor bastard. He has to be. He has to suffer, but he has no charge against him.
Well,
dude, there is like a proper fringe contingent of desperate retards who are like forming their own Avengers. Here, look. I want content, so I'm going to make a genuine suggestion. Make this happen. I know that Ralph will listen to this. You got to get Styx, Ricada, Juju, and Vito the P***o together, and you just got to have one big party together. Go to Tijuana, get the Ricadas, get Styx, your new boy. Just get all you guys into a single mansion and do and stream together. In real life stream. I just showed on the stream that the people on Kick doing the in real life stream, they get like 150,000 viewers. You guys can get 150,000 viewers in Tijuana. Almost no business overhead. You don't really got to do anything. You just got to get all these people into one room and everybody will tune in. I'll tune in. Make it happen. You want to make money? You want to be a big guy on the internet? The Tijuana Content House with Juju, Vito, Nick Ricada, Styx, Ethan Ralph. Anybody else? There's another like I forgot about. That's like, oh, get Robert Barnes in there too. Hell, why not? he'd probably. I have a feeling that once Lawyer Man's in behind closed doors, things get a little bit off the chizane, as they say, as the African American contingents say. That's what I'm talking about. Get P Diddy. Get P Diddy up in there. Now we're talking. Now that's a kick stream. Hell yeah. Jet Neptune. Yeah, he's going to jet it up. Jet Neptune. That would work too. Yeah, I like that. Get Aaron with Ricada at the Tijuana Content House. I don't know. Maybe like in the third chapter or something. You can't bring him in off the gate. That'd like freeze things over. Ricada has to be a little bit loosey-goosey before that happens. And Mersh.
It was like 38% of Republicans and like over 50% of Democrats, men and women, believe that hate speech is already against the law. And they believe
That's
that
bullshit.
What? Yeah, because it's not.
It's not against the law. I can say as much as I want.
You can definitely do that. But it's not against the law. Some A-logs, or I don't know if you know that term.
The A-logs.
Professional haters.
He knows what them are.
Basically, they don't get paid. They do it for free, which is even worse. But
imagine that you shitpost for a living, but you don't even get any money for
right,
it.
That's what I'm saying. But they were speculating.
Imagine needing to get paid to
Jaworski
shitpost
is
on
a
the
snake,
internet.
probably legally retarded too.
That's what.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you saw this, but Kino Casino's top clip guy got exposed for being what they call down low. He's basically married with a wife, but he's men on the weekends. So
why am I not surprised?
Yeah.
I gave them the benefit of the doubt, but if you want the shirt rolled down, it's all good.
Yeah, I just thought you might like to know that. That's the type of staff they have over there. And so, not shocking, really, like you said.
The way he talks is just so infuriating. Like, how do you go out of your way to sound that gay and pretentious? Yes, well, matter of fact, I wouldn't have put it past the man, but indeed, it does appear that he was on the down low, and there's the shirt rolled, as they say. I did indeed command Mother on the 14th night of October to stop immediately henceforth, post-haste, with absolute conviction. It's like, why do you talk like that? What's wrong with you? Your shit's all retarded, and you talk like a fag. Can we fix this? Is there like a way to reboot you into not mode? People listen to him too. Like, he streams and people are like, oh, I really want to know what that Styx guy has to say about this. Like, what's wrong with you? Who you in the ass to make you crave this content?
I'll give Andy Worski a pass just for now, and give him the opportunity to contact me and explain himself. But I'm not going to
explain himself, bro.
Pass to that fat bastard that he has as his co-host.
Oh, yeah, and he immediately, I didn't watch the video because I hate this look and sound of him, but he immediately put out a video about it, and this proof Styx, did all this and that.
Styx Hexenhammer got arrested. Well, yeah, dude, I literally talked about it.
Yeah, and you talked some of the stuff you'd said in your videos.
I find it so humorous that the peons have insightful commentary on my ongoing legal issues. Teedle hee, teedle hoo.
It's entirely possible that he's used cocaine, but I have no proof of it.
That's possible for sure. But who cares? First off,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, why the fuck do I even give a shit? Oh my god, he snorted a line. Holy shit.
Right, yeah.
What a terrible, terrible man.
Oh my god, he did drugs.
Nobody else has ever used drugs. Nobody else has ever used drugs.
It's just ridiculous, honestly, the Puritanism, however you say it.
I hate it. This is why I'm not a conservative.
Well, that's why I'm not either. Now, I lean to the right because you have to, basically, if you got any sense these days.
I lean to the right because, I don't want to pay more taxes. But other than that, and guns, leave my drugs alone, dude.
Well, and that's always been my mindset about it too. And you know, I'm lucky enough to have a core of people who support me, no matter what bullshit is said. And I know you're the same way.
A lot of bullshit said about you, by the way.
There is a lot of bullshit said about me. And one reason, and I'll pause this for a second. You've always been great about not participating in that. And still, you know,
you never hurt my feelings, STYXHEXENHAMMER666.
And so I want to thank you for that publicly, because
I don't give a fuck about e-drama.
Yeah, and
I watch people for their content, and I don't watch them if I don't like the content. That's it.
Right. And you've always been cool about debates, and you never said, "Oh, they're saying this about you," and I need an explanation for that, right? Or I can't come on the show anymore. And there have been some people, you know, who'll do that to you, and you're not one of those people. And so I've always appreciated that about you. So
that's so gay. I really appreciate it, Mr. Hexenhammer, that you never stooped so low as to bully me when I was at my lowest. I really do owe it to you, sir. You really are a stand-up gentleman, if I do say so myself.
Your partner, former or current, whatever, the other party, people have alleged that they posted on Kiwi Farms and all this. Is that... You can't. I don't know if you can answer that or not.
Kiwi Farms is full of shit. Most of what's posted on there is just fiction.
Well, I would agree with you there for sure.
Yeah, you've had that experience yourself.
We have no disagreements there whatsoever. And I
want to know how it's possible for there to be an audio recording of you inebriated, having thrown a phone at a woman. And now you're chastising her like a stereotype comic book villain, saying I have commanded my mother. And then everyone's like, oh, it's all bullshit. What's bullshit? And it's just like, you can't prove it happened. Go for yourself.
Also had a similar experience where it was audio. Styx interacts with women. I understand why Tubby is upset. He can't comprehend it. Maybe that's the problem.
That fat bastard, he can't even talk to a woman. That's his whole problem.
Yeah, well, I think he might be more of a...
The way he talks, he can't even talk to him.
Maybe that's the problem.
That fat bastard, he can't even talk to a woman.
He sounds like Review Bra. That's what it is. He sounds like Review Bra if Review Bra was like a terminally insecure libertarian. Like that's he has that really autistic way of speaking.
It's his whole problem.
Yeah, well, I think he might be more of a...
He's probably a...
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think he might swing the other direction, and we see the nature of their staff, so...
He's talking about PPP.
So yummy. Retard.
Yeah, I think that might...
It's like Review Bra trying to say like, well, I went into the Taco Bell dining establishment area and I ordered a chalupa with extra guac. When I received my chalupa, it had no guac at all. And I walked to the counter and I said, do you see what this says here? And it says, sir, he said to me, it says it's a chalupa with extra guac. And I looked at it and I said, do you see this chalupa? And he said, yes, I do. I said, do you see any guacamole on it? And he said, no, I do not. And then I said, you stupid it, and I threw it at him, and I left, and I will never be returning to that establishment again.
That might be part of it as well.
Yum! Give me that shaft, yeah.
He's very catty like that too. I don't know. I've had my suspicions. So
I have my suspicions about him too.
So. And PPP and Andy Worski had said that proved that you assaulted women or whatever.
Assaulted women or whatever.
I'm sad about Andy Worski. I can understand PPP because he's been gunning for me for years. I thought Andy Worski was a bro. I had always gotten along with him. I had never had any problems.
Are we sending Andy Worski to the content house in Tijuana? Because, I don't know, he seems to be tentatively invited there by Styx. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he can be PPP's chosen champion at the content house. You have to select your warrior. Ooh, that's a fun topic. Who would... Okay, PPP would obviously send Andy. Who is going to be my content hero, my content warrior at the content house? He has to put a good foot forward to represent us. Ooh, that's a hard one. It has to be some... Oh, Jace, obviously. Or Xavier Ravenblood is his current. This is Jace is his dead name. Xavier Ravenblood is his new name. I think that Jace could do it. Jace would be my champion in the content house, or Boss Man. No, Boss Man would like get himself killed. I think in Tijuana. I don't want to send Boss Man. He's too precious. I think Jace would be funnier.
With him, and now apparently he has a problem with me, and I don't exactly know why, actually.
Well, I got news for you, Styx. Andy Worski is he's actually a professional snake, and so not the first time he's done it to me as well. You know, you think you got a guy,
I had praised him before.
Yeah.
I had never had any problem with him. I thought that we were friendskies, so to speak.
Yeah, he's a snake, and so if he thinks it can make a super chat, he'll roll right along with it.
He'll make $10 pushing me under the bus, I guess.
Yeah, and actually,
the thing is, I don't even face any criminal charges. People need to understand, I have not been charged with any crime. It's pre-crime nonsense right now.
So he's saying he's not indicted? He's definitely arrested. I guess he's not formally indicted yet. I guess we'll see.
You have better recall in your memory, and of course, the longer
I was looking back at my videos over the last week, and I was like, "What the? Why was I drinking this entire time?"
Yeah, exactly. It improves your.
For the record, I do not drink at all. I think the last time I had a drink, probably in February or March. It's been a long time. Maybe April. I can't remember. That's how long it's been. I just had bad memory. No, I haven't had any Sync vodka or anything in months. Alcohol. The thing is, alcohol is not fun unless you do it with other people. You know, it's a very social inebriation. So if you don't have a social around you, then you're just wasting your brain cells. Styx. Okay, this guy who I have confirmed, by the way, is at least somewhat close to Styx. Somewhat. I can't say much more than that. Published a series of logs from Tarl. And I will read them because I think there's some pretty damning stuff in this. Samantha says, and to him, Tarl says if you'd like to interview him, to send a DM on Twitter. I'm sorry for peeing in your shampoo all those years ago. Because I was a child. I'm going to start inviting people to your party. That sounds lovely. Tarl wants to know if he could possibly bring a friend or two. I don't know how many people you're comfortable with at a party. They're talking about arranging a party. His fear keeps creeping in. Tarl making a fool of me. He says no one thought you were made a fool of. He says he grabbed my boobies on a live stream. Oh, this is that woman. He says, I'm just trying to keep myself grounded in the belief that's it. The comments of everything is mind-blowing. All I did was show up and try to watch the debate. I really don't know why Tarl wanted me on, but apparently his fans hate it. Yeah, people don't like it when the girlfriend shows up on a podcast. Like, that's a thing. Like, when there's like a relationship, there's like a dynamic that's not the same dynamic that like a person normally has. It's like if you have like a couple on a stream, it's like a different person, you know. It's like one person and it's different from like whatever you normally listen to. Every time the girlfriend shows up on a podcast, it really up the whole vibe. That's me messaging his sister. Why is he accusing me? He says, I've been treating him like shit and I don't want to be with him. He's always drinking. And this guy is trying to tell him to be patient, which is a bad advice. He's going to have a restraining order. He can't contact me and not the hotel anymore. He was arrested for battery. Oh, so it was the booby girl that pressed charges on him for battery. Okay. He assaulted me and he's held a gun at me twice in the past and threatened to kill me. I don't want to talk about this with anyone but Megan, his mom, his wife. I wasn't screaming at Taro those times. This was the first time the first time was me making a comment and explaining what I meant by it, and became absolutely livid, pissed. I accused him of, I'm assuming that says gripping his knees. Because you don't tell children you can do whatever you want as long as nobody finds out when they aren't your own child. You don't sleep with an 8-year-old child that isn't yours when you have a piss fetish and she wets the bed. Just because she's scared of the dark, like, no. So I was concerned and brought that to his attention, and he threatened me and was throwing things at me like my brass singing bowl. That's what I mean. The depth of this guy's capacity for evil is terrifying. I have a lot of grace for him, but I will draw my sword at some point. I wish him nothing but the best. This is real. He is f***ed. Should have joined the Fediverse, bro. I warned you. It says, I've seen so many people subtly advertise I try suing him now for all he's done, and that's what's creeping in my mind out of fear. I don't want to do that. I don't know why people think that's the answer. I don't feel as if Taro wants peace. He wants chaos, and it interrupts my peace. I'm so confused, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I feel like he keeps using love as a means to keep me around for ulterior motives, so he can use me for sex and company, and essentially my energy, and I feel trapped. But then I'm told I should detach from my feelings because while we have fun, I feel so exhausted and in pain from everything I've gone through, and I feel so detached from my kids. Oh, she has kids. Oh yeah, that's right. She does have kids. I remember talking about this. It's so painful, and this was way more attention than I've ever wanted, and so much chaos energy. He doesn't want us to be apart. It's not to not be so consumed with my thoughts about it and be able to just enjoy what I have. I don't think I can do that with a man like Taro because it doesn't allow peace to enter. He finds joy and pleasure in darkness. She speaks. I say that. But then I want to believe he will change, but he never has. He's nearly 40. I can fix him. I can fix him. Where is this? Oh, yeah. Okay. He's a master manipulator. He would say the same things and talk to me and talk to himself in circles, and I just got annoyed and walked away. He doesn't want to sacrifice the cigarettes or alcohol. I never agreed to such a thing. I could probably cause... It's probably because I watched him say all the same things to Liz, to me, to so many women. He refuses to leave now. He says he just wants to make sure I'm taken care of and happy because I deserve it. And he held back sobbing, saying he never wants to hear that I'm homeless ever again. It's really emotional and logically holy. This man has hurt me in so many ways that are painful and I'm supposed to just let God and Jesus heal that with time. He's ruthless, vindictive, terrifying man when he's angry. They're staying in Louisiana for 10 days at this point. I don't know when this was from. A heathen. This is weird. She writes. Feelings are capable of making you believe that you're strong, knowing, and kind, but that's knowing. I encourage him to feel differently. I do that poorly. Everyone keeps saying you can't serve two masters, but they don't see that Satanism and Christianity are two of the same. I'm afraid that this woman is cringe. I'm afraid that I must reduce the amount of capacity for suspension of disbelief that I have in her story because of this cringe chat. That's my verdict on this. I say embrace sin. Well, you know what? You know what, Samantha? I've got for you an opportunity of a lifetime. Right now in Spicer, Minnesota, there is an absolute stud open to swinging with his wife, willing to walk that line between Satanism and Christianity with you. Now, if you're willing to take me up on this offer, I can have you sent to Minnesota today to embrace the dark side and have a lot of fun. I think that this will work out well for everybody involved. Okay, this is just talking about Satanism, which I literally could not give less of a fuck. But I think the main point of contention here is that she alleges that Tarl made inappropriate comments towards an 8-year-old that slept in her bed like Michael Jackson and has a pee-pee fetish, but also intentionally slept with a child who pees in the middle of the night, as children sometimes do. Which is a bit fucking weird, but the narrator is a little bit unreliable in this instance, so I will leave that up to viewer discretion. I'll just let this play, because this was like, okay? I want you guys to enjoy this. This guy's like my, is like a pet. I like Styx because it's like, he does something real good every so often, and what he does is like profoundly even for him. So let's hear what he has to say.
All right, everyone. About 24 hours ago, the deputy DA for New Orleans Parish decided to quiz off in his own office.
That assistant DA happens to be the one that was involved in his case. He is being charged with battery in New Orleans, for beating a woman. I believe it was caught on video even. So he's facing those charges down there, and his assistant DA that is presiding over this, or is responsible for the charges, died by, I like to say.
I have nothing further to say about this. Very, very sad now, isn't it? I did want to talk about chaos magic, though. Chaos magic is the concept that you are generating energy. It doesn't have to be negative, necessarily speaking. It can be quite protective. And you're launching it at a non-specific target, so to speak. That is that the energy that is generated partially in the form of ritual, potentially, partially in the form of meditation, simple mental focus, and so forth, goes forth and does its job. The idea is that it's sort of like, imagine that ritual magic is like firing a rifle, so to speak. We're going to use a physical metaphor for it. The rifle is very accurate, takes out an individual target. It's very, very target-head. Let's say that you utilize, though, a shotgun. Well, I mean, if you fire it at intermediate distance, you might hit anything. It's not exactly sure necessarily the accuracy is much lower. The power is still high, but the accuracy is lower. Chaos magic, in my personal black magic practicing experience, is exceptionally effective at eliminating persecutors and people that are corrupt and so forth. It will not work against those that are actually being genuine. It will not work against those that are being good people. I mean, good in the general sense. So they're not trying to do harm or anything like that. It's ineffective against them. What it will do, though, is it will tend to hone in, and in that way, it's a little bit more like a homing missile, I suppose, on those that are doing evil, those that are being corrupt. Everything is mimetic. There are no coincidences. You wouldn't believe the number of mimetic things that have happened literally in the last 48 hours of my life, for example. So unfortunately, he decided to off himself. It's not immediately clear why he did. It appears self-inflicted. This was the other day, just before I actually came here to New Orleans. It's not 100% clear what the reasoning was. I think that the thought is that it's combined with the New Orleans, like the Bourbon Street attack. So maybe he got overloaded. He got too stressed because he's like, hey, shit, I've got 1,000 different reports that I have to deal with because a bunch of people died. Maybe there was a lawsuit impending or something like that. Maybe he just went crazy due to the stress of his job. I can imagine he was a young dude, younger than me. He was only 34 years old. I can imagine that the stress of such a job...
It's unfucking real to me that this imbecile facing charges for battery, who's failed his marriage, groped a woman on stream, I think he has kids, but has no contact with them, and then just sits around talking about this Dungeons and Dragons bullshit as if it's like a serious topic, is like nearing 40. He's older than the prosecutors prosecuting him for being a violent, belligerent spurg, and he's
Like, this is just the state of his life.
Probably it just fried him out. He just got overloaded. That would be my best guess. And so he just decided he's going to. So sorry to his family and stuff like that. But yeah, chaos magic is real. And it's very, very funny because people will believe that up in the sky, somewhere out in space, I don't know, maybe on another planet where we can't see it, there are cherubim that are floating around, God's throne and stuff like that. Or maybe they believe in Allah or one of these other things. Maybe they believe in the Hindu pantheon. So you've got the breath of Brahma breathing in and out, creating and decreating everything over and over endlessly for eternity. They'll believe in that. And many people believe in things like angels. But they don't believe in demons. They don't believe in spells. They don't believe in magic. Incantation? No. That doesn't exist. Prayer? Of course it exists. Of course it works. Who wouldn't think that? Spirituality? No, not really. Most religious people aren't spiritual at all. But your God absolutely exists. I find this absolutely fascinating, the way in which people fathom the spiritual. And so, yeah, just figured that I would cover that. Yeah.
It really boggles my mind that when I sit around and talk about how I think people to death, people call me a but you believe in God. That makes you a also. It is unreal. This guy has 500,000 subscribers. 500,000 people thought this guy was so worth listening to. They clicked a button to hear more of his shit, and this is what he pumps out. He just sits around collecting super chats being like, well, God is bad. Yeah, but I believe in magic and shit. Yeah, I'm 40 years old. Yeah, I have a failed marriage. I have kids that I don't see. Yeah. There was a winning comment, I think, down there. Kramer Ika 962 says, why didn't you use chaos magic to keep your marriage together? One day all that chaos magic's going to come back and bite him in the ass, I have a feeling. And then finally, I would like to present a video for you so that you will get a violent ideation towards this fucking idiot.
Snow blizzard blanketing Louisiana right now. They're expecting up to 10 inches of snow in NOLA. Last time it snowed like this in Louisiana was back in 1895, exactly 130 years ago. Yeah. Again, everything is coincidental. No occultist is currently targeting the state of Louisiana for a good reason. Cast a spell, LMAO. Did that last night. Now Louisiana is going to get a foot of snow. Again, what a coincidence. Oh, your deputy AG decided to in his own office, and then you got a foot of snow while we avoided the nor'easter? What a coincidence. Lemon curd. Still Styx. Admit it's chagrinable that it is snowing in NOLA. Yeah, again, what a coincidence.
He really thinks he's like the hot shit. I honestly, I think that this is a side effect of someone so incredibly mediocre and like unattractive and just completely and totally unremarkable in every way, getting like a large audience, because he just sits around and goes, well, Trump's is very tasty. Yeah. And then everyone claps. And for some reason, that's all he's ever needed to say or do to get a platform. Like, at least I used to confuse this guy with the guy that goons while his Latino GF, his base Latinx GF, knock a bang on the bathroom door yelling at him. Razor Fist, because they're very similar in like their whole shtick. But at least Razor Fist has like some gravitas to him. He's like more entertaining. He's better at making his embarrassments like swept under the rug. This guy has like no appeal. This guy has never had any appeal. And I still remember back in the day when deplatforming was really, really bad. his main thing was that everybody moved to Bitchute. Yeah. Everybody moved to Gab. Yeah. And then finally, after going to every one after the other and just f***ing them as hard and long as possible, eventually he ended up, just by process of elimination, sucking Rumble's d-. And now he's like big on Rumble too. He's just like, he's never had a thought. He's never had like a real thought. He just finds different to suck. And then because he's gotten money by doing this, he can like buy women and then sexually humiliate them on live stream and then beat them. And he just thinks that he should get away with it because he is popular on the internet. Because he's like the most midwit of any midwit to ever midwit. And I just want to see something really bad happen to him because he's a complete piece of shit. And I don't think that pieces of shit like him should have any kind of arrogance or presupposition that they matter at all. He's gonna cast a spell on me. Oh no, chat. A historic blizzard comes that dumps snow all the way through Destin in Tallahassee, I think. It's like all that shit gets covered in snow, but it happened just because he's been, not praying. He's been invoking dark magics against the state of Louisiana because they're so wrong, chat. They're so wrong. How dare they prosecute him for beating a woman? How dare they? They're so evil and misandrous, chat. Thankfully, the dark magics and dark gods are on his side to create historic snowstorms that blanket half the fucking country in snow. At his request only. Then STYXHEXENHAMMER is baiting on Twitter. This is the entire update on Styx. He says, when I am gone, just know that I loved every minute of it. I loved every one of you, and I did my best. That's all I ask. Just casually baiting. And of course, if you call out that this is baiting on Twitter, then he would just say, actually, I didn't say that I was going to kill myself. That was just your interpretation. I just wanted to share my good love with all my followers. He's baiting. And honestly, of all the people in the world who could be baiting, I think Styx is like the one I would care least about. Like, he's just such a loser with no redeeming qualities, and he's a smug piece of shit. So, I don't know how I'm supposed to care. STYXHEXENHAMMER has gone back to jail. Or has he? Now, these internet services that catalog jail intake records, quote-unquote jail intake records, have a record of Taro Warwick in his county of Vermont going to the Marble Valley Regional Correctional Facility for 1 day. Booked on the 24th, released on the 25th. For a offense that occurred in 24th, and I believe the listing is even violating abuse prevention order. So, he had an abuse prevention order placed against him. He violated it, and he got a signature bond. He went to the Marble Valley Regional Correctional Facility and was released the following day, probably after his hearing. Taro has taken to Twitter to mock me for posting this, saying that he's not in jail. Most people could pay a cash bond. However, this is a very real record. And, by the way, I have confirmed from the Vermont State Police that this arrest happened and the code right here is legitimate. So I put in a FOIA request with I was referred by the Vermont State Police that I would actually have to contact the Rutland County Police Department. So I've contacted the Rutland Police Department, and I'm going to acquire the arrest video or the report or the mugshot and/or. So he's literally on the internet lying about having been arrested as if people can't validate this. I'm going to validate this. I'm waiting on my return phone call. I contacted them. I'm going to call them again today, actually, after this stream. I'm going to ask, where's my court report? I want the arrest report, and I want the mugshot. Gonna lie to me? I'm not in jail. Yeah, I got released on a cash bomb. That's usually what happens to low-risk, docile, neutered cattle like you. They just let you go. They let you walk out on a promissory. Bitch. My theory is that he got arrested for the blood ritual. Because I feel like that's so weird that you probably can get somebody on... Because I think like when you do a DVRO, it says like you can't harass this person anymore. And I can't think of anything closer to harassing somebody without actually like invoking their name than using a vial of their blood to try and curse them. Like I guess in his head it's all voodoo nonsense anyway, so nobody takes it seriously. But it's like you have the blood is real. It's really a vial of her blood. and it's real weird to take her vial of blood and then do shit with it. I feel like if you match with it, you might also get a DVR restraining order for violation for that. So, yeah, I'm coming, buddy. Swiggity swooty. He says, Josh has this obsession with me. Swiggity swooty, coming. I'm gonna get that tape. I got a list of tapes that I'm after. I'm gonna get whatever records they're gonna get me. Bitch. Okay. Let's talk about my boy. This is my favorite. Styx is honestly my favorite lolcow right now because he's such a smug asshole that I love seeing him bad things happen to him, and he's completely unlikable, and he's a dipshit, and he talks like a and the shit's all gay. So let's hear what he has to say. This is a very informative message from him.
If you take a bunch of testosterone supplements, eventually your hair will begin to thin and so forth. I personally do not need testosterone supplements. I can go all night. Yes.
Why is he like this? What has happened to him?
Take a bunch of
to make him like this. Does anyone know? Does anyone know what made him like this? Why is he dressed up like this? You know, I said that part of the reason why I was losing weight is that when I got to my baseline weight, I wanted to like get nice clothes. And one of the clothes that I wanted to buy was like a leather jacket. And now I see, like, whenever I see people with leather jackets, they look like this. And I'm just like, maybe like a navy pea coat instead, chat. I've been turned off. I've been turned off my decision, chat. Was he like this before? I think he's developed alcoholism or something. While he was invited onto Jeremy Hambley's show, the quartering, and he literally fell asleep on air. Let's take a look.
That's the kind of dichotomy here that's also at play here because
leftists are
in the local issues. They're not.
You can see he's just like chilling. Look, his head's nodding down.
His head's, and they're more active.
His head's drifting away.
The left is way more active. And by the way, I've been reading chat, and there's a lot of brain dead takes, like false dichotomies.
By the way, Jeremy Hambley is in a fight with a lot of people right now because he said Wisconsin had like a Democratic sweep in their state. And he said that was entirely because of the abortion issue. And he said that Republicans should lighten up on the abortion issue if they want to win, which is an opinion that I've given before and I actually agree with. And everyone's mad at him for that. Even if you really, 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 really despise abortion and you think every single aborted baby, even the black ones, is a loss to all mankind, keep in mind that you will save no babies from abortion if you lose all your elections. This is real politics. This is the way the world works. You have to win. If you don't win, you lose. Does that make sense? That's literally my point. If you don't win, you lose. Whatever your ideals are, if you don't win, your ideals don't matter because you lose. So I agree with Hambley on this point. That's what he's arguing about. But that's not why we're talking. Okay, he's talking to Luke, who I believe is the guy. Yeah, We Are Changed. He's the only guy on Tim Pool's show that's worth a shit. And then you have Styx. Now, Styx is the hero of this segment. He is sleeping. Let's watch him sleep a little bit more.
People are saying, oh, Jeremy says we can't win, so we should just allow abortion. That's not what I said. I said we have to figure out a way. We have to find we have to change perception. We have to drive the conversation away from abortion, or we're going to lose. You're like not listening to me if you think that I said.
He's so deep in contemplation. Jeremy Hambley is striking such a great point that Styx is actually needing to dedicate 100% of his mental resources to computing what he's talking about.
We should allow abortion so we could win elections. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're an idiot if you don't see that in purple states, that's why we're losing. And you want to say voter fraud? It wasn't voter fraud. Now, did George Soros spend an assload more money? Yes, and that hurt. But I can tell you for a fact that when the data comes out after the fact, there will be tens of thousands of women that voted for Trump and voted for Susan Crawford. Why the f do you think that is? It's because of abortion. And it's not a guess. I live here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, let's go. I thought at this point he woke up, but he didn't actually. He like leaned backwards and got super comfy in his chair, a little bit more comfy.
It's
By the way, you can see that Luke from Tim Pool's show is like aware of the situation. They're both now aware because they were willing to ignore him for a while until his head dripped back. Because they thought, because this guy's been here for like 20 minutes, like, oh, is he finally going to talk? Because he's moving. And they both noticed. Look at how they're looking. And then he just goes right back to sleep, and it's so obvious he's asleep. And they both become extremely uncomfortable. Like Luke seems very disrespected, and Quartering seems really pissed off.
It's just the truth of it.
Yeah, but Elon also came in kind of late in the game. He came in late, and
he's like super angry. He's like looking at his screen, seething, like biting his lip.
What?
Look at
too late.
He can't even conceal it
only because of Elon. And these other guys, I mean, they were in the shadows. I was hearing about the shadow funding of this Democrat Supreme Court.
No, the We Are Change guy is from Tim Pool's show. He shows up on it, doesn't he? Who is? I'm like 99% certain that Luke guy is like a libertarian who's like on Tim Pool's show all the time.
Appointee now. Not appointee, this candidate now for weeks and weeks on end now. So clearly, the whole Republican Party machine.
Then he gets booted. Dude, look, he's like actual furrowed brow, like seething anger, like boiling over contempt. Look at that look. That's not a look you want to get from somebody that you consider your friend. Hambly, by the way, if you forgot, Hambly, when Styx was arrested on domestic violence charges in New Orleans, Hambly was the one that bailed him out. Hambly footed a $7,000 cash bond to get Styx out of jail. And then Hambly says, hey, why don't you come on my stream so we can have a talk? And this is how he pays that. He owes this guy $7,000. And this is the level of respect that's showed upon him as gratitude.
Isn't activated.
I just want to see him. Look at that face. He's even, now he's like leaned over talking to him like, bro, what the are you doing?
Actually kind of admitting that it's okay for Soros to do this because he, quote, hides in the
shaking his head in anger. Literally look at
that it's okay for Soros to do this because he, quote, hides in the shadows.
Visibly shaking his head in frustration. That is awesome.
Opposite of what I think is, important to do here.
Yeah, well, because it doesn't give...
Good recovery. If he didn't look so pissed off, it wouldn't be so obvious. Here's his excuse, by the way.
The Nick Adams Show. Are you still part of the Quartering? Yes. Quartering has run into some debt, it appears. And so I'm doing it for free, basically. But I have no problem with this.
Don't ever say those words. He knows the meme. He's referencing the meme, but he's saying them and then he's like, yes, I'm quite proud that I do it for free, actually.
So yeah, I believe that I will be on the Quartering at 2 p.m. I'll probably keep this.
So this was before
on the shorter end, and then I'll go on with him. But I don't have any problem with it because I figure he had my back at my darkest hour. So I'm going to have his back. And I love it.
He loves it. He loves it. Jeremy Hambly says, you gonna be on my show, boy. I've given you all that money. And he's like, oh, boy, yes, master. I love it so much. I love working for you for free, Mr. Hambly. I'm a part of you, Mr. Hambly. I'm a part of you, Mr. Hambly. I love doing it for free. But unfortunately, you see, from the actual parents, you do get what you pay for, chat.
Dad, yeah, he I think he took out 300 grand to make a coffee company. But I believe in the long term, because of his business acumen.
Business acumen. That's like a drunk slur. This man's toasty.
And so, I'm willing to have his back. I believe that it will pay off, and therefore I'm going to have his back.
I believe it will pay off. It's an interesting way to reference, like, I'm friends with this guy. I like it. If someone asked me, like, if I was still doing appearances on Ricada, or if I, like, streamed frequently with, like, PPP, I would be like, I'm not. I wouldn't say that. I would be like, I like being on his show. That's what I said with showing up on the Dick Show. I like it. I like being on the show. I like talking to him about stuff. I like sharing locales with like a different audience. It's fun. That's if you're doing streaming right, your guest appearances should be fun. But he's like, no, actually, I think it will pay off. I think once I sow my oats in his audience, I will accrue some of my own fans from them. Yes, indeed.
He didn't give up on me when things are real tough for me. So I'm not going to give up on him.
It's true.
That's the way that I work with my friends.
It's true. People compare this guy to King Cobra with like a little bit higher verbal intelligence, but it's true. The Bog Witch was really terrible to Cobes. She was like verbally abusive and mentally abusive, and she was just the worst person to him. And he never beat her. He would never raise a hand to the evil Bog Witch. And this guy, who has none of the same mental handicaps as King Cobra JFS, was dating a woman who, as far as I know, didn't really do anything to him. And then he struck her and he threw things at her. And King Cobra never did, even though Jessica Boyle was really, really just awful to him. Isn't that interesting? It's just fascinating, chat. STYXHEXENHAMMER. STYXHEXENHAMMER, as a quick recap, was once a very, very popular political commentator. How he achieved this is a mystery to the entire world, but after Trump was elected, he was one of the foremost political commentators on the internet. He had thousands and thousands of viewers watching him for his hot takes as a based libertarian gigachad who wore leather for some reason. Over time, his popularity waned because people discovered that his takes actually suck, and he's a that worships a gay demon named Stolas, and he has little cartoon character drawings of Stolas in his house. Styx also became a alcoholic. He drinks perpetually. He drinks alcohol live on stream. He drinks alcohol secretly live on stream. And then he went down to, he gropes his girlfriend in the most uncomfortable video ever put on the internet. Live on stream because he's drunk. So then he goes down to Nollings with a girlfriend, and he has a little bit of a kerfuffle, and he chucks his telephone, his cell phone, at his girlfriend. Now he says that he was simply throwing his phone. She demanded to see proof if he was cheating on her, and he was. And when she looked at his phone, she saw evidence that he was cheating on her. And then when she became upset, he became very upset himself, and he chucked his phone. Now, his story is that it was a complete accident, but he did peg her with his phone. Now, apparently, while he was drunk and throwing his phone around, he said that he had a Glock on him. So he was carrying a firearm during this confrontation. And he said, no, stalker child, if I was actually trying to have a domestic, I would have simply shot her or brandished my weapon. I could not have possibly intended to cause her any distress. Like, that was his actual defense, and I'll play the video in a second. Then, so he got arrested. She called 911. The police showed up. And like, you can't be chucking shit at your spouse and shit. That is a DV. And so he was arrested and spent a weekend in jail, where Jeremy Hambley was the one he had to call with his one phone call to get bailed out of jail, because apparently he just doesn't have enough money on his own to post his own bond. So Hambley bailed him out, and then he returned to New Hampshire, I believe, or Vermont, one of those two states, and has been going through the judicial proceedings for the last couple months. Now, at some point, the prosecutor in his case committed, which Styx took as evidence that his chaos and this is not a joke. If you like, I always like to imagine what somebody's thinking if they're listening to this stream for the first time, because it must just sound like I'm making shit up. So this guy who's like a dark wizard, he believes he doesn't believe in prayer. He believes in chaos magic. So you start like envisioning bad things happening to your enemies. And then your gay owl demon Stolas like makes your wishes come true, because you sold your soul to the demons or whatever. And he was wishing bad things to happen to his prosecutor, and then he killed himself. And then later, New Orleans got hit with snow, I want to say, and it was like this historic storm. And he was like very smugly talking about how his chaos magic was causing people to commit and to cause New Orleans to be blanketed with snow because of his supreme magic and stuff. It's called chaos magic or some shit. He actually believes this. I'm not joking. The ruling has finally come in after much anticipation. He was tried by judge by Zoom. Defendant Tarl Warwick appeared represented by Jared Bradley. The defendant elected for trial by judge, and I'm not sure why. I know you have a right to a jury. I'm not sure if there's like considerations when you have a misdemeanor trial or if you have to pay for a jury in a misdemeanor trial. Because if you want a jury trial in a civil case, I think you have to pay for it, even though you have a right to ask for it. So he might have decided that he didn't want to pay for a jury trial in a misdemeanor. That's my speculation. I'm not a lawyer, but that's what I'm thinking. Because otherwise, why the fuck would you get a bench trial? Generally, you never want a bench trial ever, and you should basically always invoke your right to a jury trial. So Eva Ripple represented the state female judge in a DV case, and you elect for a bench trial. Now you guys know how I am. I'm a good boy, okay? I don't think evil misogynist thoughts, right? But I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. That would not be my choice, chat. If I was in this situation and I was having a little bit of conversation with Stolas about what to do, all right, I would not choose this. Defense requested sequestering of witnesses. State requested sequestering of witnesses. State evidence, rebuttal. The judge's verdict for defendant Charlie Warwick, domestic abuse battery, first offense. Defendant found guilty by judge. The defendant was issued and signed a protective order. Defendant to appear via Zoom for sentencing on July 15th. Victim to give impact statement via Zoom. Notified defense counsel. Tarl Warwick, STYXHEXENHAMMER666. Despite the chaos magic of the gay owl demon Stolas, was no match for our boy Jesus. And Jesus has found him guilty of domestic abuse battery. So let's talk about the righteous punishment coming. This is from an attorney website out of Louisiana that I found that explains what the possible consequences for being found of domestic abuse battery in Louisiana are. A fine between $300 and $1,000. Jail time for 30 days to 6 months, which is almost always going to be deferred as probation or parole or whatever. You know how that works. However, the statute does say mandatory 48 hours in jail. But don't get too excited because when he was arrested, as I mentioned, he didn't have the money to post his own bond. So he had to beg the quartering to post his bond for him. And so he actually spent more than 2 days in jail when he was arrested. So even if he gets 2 days in jail as a sentence, he already has his time served. And almost always, I'm not familiar with Louisiana 100%, and they are a little bit weird because they're French. Chances are he's going to get time served. But it is possible that the Honorable Judge Eva might give him a week of jail time. And then he would have to, I don't know how that works. If you have a week of jail time and you live in New Hampshire and you're sentenced in New Orleans, does that mean that can you like turn yourself into a local jail in New Hampshire, or do you have to actually pay travel expenses to go to jail in New Orleans for a week? I imagine they have something where you can go to jail in New Hampshire for 5 days or whatever, and you don't have to pay to go to New Orleans to serve your time. I'm not sure how that works. But that's what he's facing. As always, please consult the graph. Nothing ever happens. Probably not going to jail, but he might. However, as even though nothing ever happens, there is something that has happened. Now, he's a base libertarian, Giga Chad demon worshiper chat. And when you think of base libertarian demon worshipers, what do you think of? Asian wives and guns. That is basically the only facets of the libertarian identity that are consistent. So there's a little caveat in United States law. The Second Amendment affords all American citizens the right to keep and bear arms. However, we have yielded a couple of Second Amendment rights over time to certain laws that, as the Constitution states, no freedom shall be abridged without due process. So if you've been convicted of certain crimes, you lose certain rights. And there is a federal statute that means if you get convicted of domestic abuse, even a misdemeanor, in any state, you permanently, irrevocably lose your right to keep and bear arms. So after this verdict, he will be ordered to turn in his weapons to his local sheriff, and he will never get them back. And the reason for this is that the number one cause of murder in the United States, deliberate murder, is a domestic partner shooting his wife or girlfriend or ex-wife or baby mama. That's if you're listen, if women were animals, if women were dogs, yeah, the natural predator of the woman would be her boyfriend. That is just how it works. So in the United States, we do take people's weapons away if they are convicted of any sort of domestic crime, including domestic abuse, battery, first offense, misdemeanor. So it's over. He lost his guns, which means that he will only be half a libertarian, a cursed libertarian. He will live a libertarian life, but only half a libertarian life. Because what is the purpose, chat? Chat, I ask you a question, okay? What is even the purpose of being a libertarian if you can't do this? I don't even know. It's a great question, chat. Okay. People get mad at me and doing. I haven't shot it yet. I know there's no bullets or shells in the gun because I've not shot it yet. I'll have to get around to that. It's harder to find a range that lets you use shotguns than it is to find one that lets you use a rifle, chat, or a handgun. You have to go to certain ranges for that. Of course, once I have actually fired it, I will never risk the dreaded ND. All right. Oh, there's a video to play of Mr. Stolas himself lamenting his life. Actually, he's not lamenting his life. He's coping and seething. You ready?
All right, everyone, getting out in front of it. Yes, I was found guilty of battery just earlier in the New Orleans Parish Courthouse. And I disagree with some of the evidence that was allowed at trial. Let's just put it that way. Thankfully, now that the case is over, I'm allowed to actually explain my side of the story before somebody else is allowed to explain theirs. I'm sure that there will be 1,000 rumors swirling, and the people that don't like me, they'll be talking all sorts of shit about me. First and foremost, this does not involve my wife. It does not involve beating anyone. I did not punch anyone. I did not draw a gun on anyone. I did not hit anyone with a baseball bat or any of these things. What happened is this. I was inebriated in a hotel room with my ex-girlfriend, and we got into a bit of a squabble because she was texting with another dude, and I believed that she was cheating on me, or at least at least digitally. And she handed the phone to me, and what I saw was, questionable in nature. I later found out this is ex post facto, so it's not evidence pertinent.
Oh, I got that wrong. I thought that he was cheating on her. It's the other way around. He's a cock. He's a cock. He's a gunless cock, chat. What the? This just keeps getting worse.
Found out she did send him nudes.
I have a question for anyone who's familiar with Wiccan or dark chaos magic. Can Stolas prevent you from becoming a cuckold? I need this for scientific purposes.
I'm not going to name her, by the way, because that's not necessary or proper or potentially even legal. Anyway, I tossed the phone back onto the bed, but because I was inebriated, it accidentally hit her in the side.
Now, I've been found guilty of battery. Under Louisiana statute, you should be able to show intent in order for that charge to stick. Of course, unfortunately,
What he's complaining about is that he's saying he threw the phone and the phone hit her, which is all it takes. In case you're wondering, all battery is, especially in DV charges, is you physically contacted somebody against their will in a aggressive or violent manner. That's it. And DV charges are very strict because people in domestic violence situations are extremely annoying, and the police and state legislators don't like dealing with them because they're so annoying. So if you call in a domestic violence charge, almost always somebody gets arrested. Either you're getting arrested for abuse of 911 or they're getting arrested for battery. So you can't call 911 to show you're serious. And then when the police show up, they go, oh, he good boy, he didn't do nothing. Oh man, we sorted it out, officer. Like either you're going to jail or they're going to jail. Somebody's going to jail. That's how it works. And the domestic violence charges are usually extremely cut and dry. Do you have a partnership with this person? Do you live together? Yes. Okay. So we don't have to decide if you're boyfriend, girlfriend, or married or anything like that. It's, do you live together? Yes. Okay. You're domestic. Did you make physical contact with them in a way that was violent? You threw your phone and it hit her. Battery. Domestic abuse, battery. That's it. That's all you have to prove. And the reason why is because they don't want to get into court, because this shit happens all the time. Be like, oh, I didn't mean it. I was just throwing my phone, and she's not even my girlfriend anyway, so she can't be my domestic partner because she's not my girlfriend. Sure, we live together and we're not boyfriend, girlfriend, so she's not. Like, courts don't want to deal with this trash shit, Jerry Springer nonsense. Live together, battery. All it takes. And he's complaining that there was not intent, but even if he didn't intend to hit her with the phone, he intended to throw the phone. And when you throw a phone at somebody, you are intending to do so. And if you hit them, it's then battery with intent. Because you should know, as the mens res or whatever, the Latin word for the criminal mind, you know that when you throw something towards somebody, there's a chance you're going to hit them. So that's all they have to show. Did you throw the phone? Did it throw at them? Yes, you have intent. So he's complaining like, I didn't actually mean to hit her. Well, bitch, did you throw the phone at her? Yes, you had intent. That's how it works.
I was found guilty anyway, probably because I have a penis, honestly. I did not intend to harm my ex. I did not materially threaten her, despite the fact that I had a Glock 17 on my hip. That never happened. I did not beat anyone. I did not brandish a weapon. I did not do anything like that. So I'm just getting out ahead and saying, I am not a violent individual. I am not an insane individual. Well, I may be insane, but not, in the criminal sense, and so forth. So I just wanted to make that clear before all of the rumors begin circulating. Yeah, which I'm sure that they will. Oh, Kino Casino's going to have a field day with this once they read OPSEC. Go have at it. It's all good. So just to be clear about the actual facts of the case, I should not have been found guilty under Louisiana state statute, but I chose not to testify, and I believe that was probably a bad decision because I could have explained all this before.
This absolute imbecile thinks that if he went in front of a Louisiana female judge presiding over a domestic abuse situation and just explained his side of the story, he would be off scot-free. She would go, oh, so you didn't mean to hit her with the phone? Ah, geez, dude, I guess that means you get to walk free. Bang, bang. This would be locked up for life for attempted murder. He tried to drive that phone through her skull.
For the court in literally less than 4 minutes. Whoops. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. Since my sentencing is via Zoom call, I'm assuming I'm probably getting probation. Anyways, I wish the alleged victim well. Do your own thing. Leave me alone, basically. That's basically all I can say. And dudes out there, please, be careful about who you date. Just saying. That's about all.
Well, I think we can agree with that one,
Peace out.
Styx. Don't make bad penis decisions. Bad penis decisions are bad life decisions, chat. And don't throw your phone at your girlfriend. Don't commit domestic abuse, battery, chat. It's a bad idea. And then next, I can't show you this. So you're going to have to just take my word for it. There's this guy called STYXHEXENHAMMER666, and he's an enormous, he's a loser. And he recently got hit with domestic violence charges. And you might hope that after catching DV charges and being outed as a broke bitch loser, that perhaps his penis would go dry and he would be forced to goon to Annie Chan on Twitter. Not so. An astute Kiwi Farms user noticed that STYXHEXENHAMMER666 was checking out corner demons in his room. Now, Kiwi Farms users are very experienced in dealing and identifying corner demons. So, helpfully, Styx was wearing reflective policeman aviator glasses indoors because he's and he wears glasses indoors. And in the in the reflection of his mirror aviators, you can clearly see a woman is masturbating in the reflection. So while on live stream, STYXHEXENHAMMER666, despite having domestic violence charges and being broke and being has somehow managed to get a woman to masturbate herself in the corner of his room while he live streams. And that is your STYXHEXENHAMMER666 update chat.